Cleveland Heights. In Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
And the Cavaliers were going to finally get over that second-round hump. They'd have to beat the Pistons in Detroit for a second time. Donovan Mitchell last night made sure that was the case.
Schroeder and Mitchell having a catch, 9 to shoot. Mitchell, the step-back J, money! Wow. Spida has been scintillating.
That courtesy NBA on Prime. Good guys take it. 125-94. Mitchell, 26 points. Cavs take the series 4-3. Jared Allen added 23 points. Sam Merrill off the bench also with 23 points. Evan Mobley double-double in the Game 7 win. 21 points, 12 rebounds. The Cavs as a team shot 51% of the floor, holding the Pistons to just 35%. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night in New York. Meanwhile, the Guardians beat up on the Reds on Sunday, 10-3. Kyle Manzardo hitting a pair of home runs. He would drive in 3. Guardians take 2 of 3 in the series. The Guardians hitting 6 homers as a club, the most since 2019. Chase DeLauder, Angel Martinez, and Jose Ramirez with 2-run homers. Brian Rocchio added a solo blast on the hill. Gavin Williams picks up the victory, allowed just 2 runs over 6 innings. He would strike out 7. Browns start up the third and final phase of their offseason workout program this week. Phase 3 includes 10 days of organized team activities, or OTAs. Team drills permitted, but no contact for said OTAs gets going tomorrow in Berea. The phase ends with mandatory minicamp. That begins on June 9th. At the PGA Championship, Aaron Rai, a 5-under par 65 on Sunday, wins his first ever major. His round included a 40-foot putt for eagle on 9 and a 70-foot birdie putt on 17. Rai finished at 9-under for the tournament, became the first player from England to win the Wanamaker Trophy since 1919. Rai finished 3 strokes better than John Rahm and Alex Smalley. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. The best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next, time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
Tonight we're gonna take no prisoners.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
28-22 Cleveland. 2 seconds, 1 second. Mitchell backs it in. A Spida bite at the end of the quarter. Oh, Jared Allen with the crank.
What the heck is going on defensively with the Pistons?
Mitchell swing it. Merrill ball fake. That jumper. Yes, sir. These Pistons fans are in a state of shock. Empty trip for the Pistons. 2 missed free throws to roll. The jam. Mobley. Cavaliers will dribble out the clock. And this topsy-turvy series belongs to Cleveland. A blowout Game 7 win in Detroit to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Prime Video, thank God. It's a good feeling. I have a mix of relief and excitement, which is a very nice mix. I enjoy it right now. Hello, how are you?
Kenny, good to be one of the final 4 teams left playing basketball right now.
It's like,
it's a good feeling.
I swear to God, I did think about this yesterday morning when I woke up. I go, is there like an extender I can do the show from underneath the table if they lose tonight? I swear to God, I'm like, well, I said I'd do it if they lost. If they found a way to lose on Friday, they got destroyed on Friday. And then
I didn't watch Friday. What happened?
They went out. Yes, you did. You know you watched on Friday. You're just gonna act like you didn't see it, but you saw Friday. But we don't have to worry about Friday because Friday's that's in the past.
I care about Game 7s. I don't pay much mind to Game 6. I guess people.
I think a lot of people cared about Game 7.
I guess a lot of people overreacted to Game 6. I just didn't watch that game.
I talked to one guy who was like, they're gonna win. Don't worry about it. I go, what?
Who was that?
You won't. I'll give you each one guess. We know him.
Oh, it was very clear.
Who?
It's Nick Wilson.
No. Good guess, though.
Was it?
Very good guess, though. You get one guess. Hurry.
Did you talk to Nick Barledge?
No. Good guess.
Dan Gilbert.
It was Jason Lloyd, of all people. He called me on his way up to Detroit, and I'm like, hello? Every time he calls, I go, oh, God, what happened now? And he just wanted to talk. And he's like, "How you feel about tonight?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I thought they were gonna end this on Friday, and then went out and they got hammered on Friday, and I'm just hoping all that stuff about them eating bad food or having a stomach bug going through, maybe it was true.
Weren't they sick on Friday?
Yes.
And I go, what do you think? He's like, I think they're going to win. I go, I really do. I was like, really? You? He goes, yep. And then that was it. And it was like, all right, 8 o'clock. Like, I didn't even want to get on social media the whole day. I don't think I said anything. And it was just like, all right, let's see what you guys do. Because tomorrow's either going to be
the same way. I avoided all the basketball stuff.
Yeah.
I avoided 100% of it.
Like, guys, I'm excited, but I am a little bit relieved because if they didn't win that game last night, this was going to be a weird day. But because I really don't, if they go out and they lose this series, I don't have to have another weird day. But that's for another day. That's for later on. Hopefully it never happens. Hopefully we're going to the NBA Finals. Because last night, it was weird. I've seen these big, exciting, dramatic plays, these big, exciting, dramatic finishes, Donovan Mitchell taking over, things like that, and them coming back from down 9 with 3 minutes left to go, everything. And you look through it and you go, all right, James Harden was solid enough without scoring a whole bunch of points. And I know it was a Game 7. I know Stan Van Gundy made a point to bring that up about his stats in Game 7s later on in the game. But I was surprised, relieved, excited now for the future, excited to hear what people have to say about this basketball team because I felt that way. I thought for sure Detroit would climb back into it in the third quarter. They just never really let them do it. They never really let them do it. Turnovers were fine. 3-point shooting could always be better, but it could have been better for them. Sam Merrill was excellent in this basketball game. I know he took the shot heard around the world from Sir Thompson. Like there was a lot going on, but ultimately, I think a lot of people should be relieved and excited that this team is moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They have won 2 Game 7s, one at home, one on the road. Nobody believed in them. I mean, let's be honest. I was at the Marathon all weekend doing stuff downtown, not far from here. I swear, Kenny, I must have talked to thousands of fans. Nobody thought they were going to win yesterday. Nobody. And I'm not going to walk around like I was peacocking. Like, it was ugly Friday night. There was no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
It was very ugly. It was so ugly that I was hanging out with Cade Cunningham's dad at a local establishment afterwards, and I was basically like, well, your son is legit. He's the real deal.
How'd you end up with Cade Cunningham's dad?
We happened to be in the same place.
He was
I
just
got introduced.
Obviously, he was in town. That's amazing.
Yeah. Very nice gentleman. And, everybody was resigned. Everybody was resigned to the fact that this was over.
Oh, he thought it was over, too?
Everybody thought it was over.
So we could stick it to Cade Cunningham's dad today?
He was super nice.
Excellent.
He was super nice.
Well, he wasn't nice to me.
Fella.
I don't give a damn. To hell with. No, I'm kidding.
Lima thought it was over after Game 2, so.
Right, I did.
This is what a
they
weird.
had to win 4 of 5, and I sat here with Andy Baskin, and I said, the series is over. They're not going to win 4
no
of
big
5.
deal. Just got to win 4 of 5. That's all, right?
Oh, I didn't hear
That's
this.
all you got to do against Detroit Pistons. Come home, just take care of your.
I didn't hear this.
Andy Baskin is in for Ken Carman. The series is over, isn't it?
It's almost over.
I didn't hear that. Okay, but I think that is the
Guess
quintessential.
what? He missed it.
So
Yes, gladly so.
Lima has basically flirted with being basically Whammer the entire year. And all we need is one of those boogie boards for you to ride out that people used in elementary school gym class.
The sunglasses.
With the sunglasses. Lima has been Whammer here for the entire duration of the season. But I think that is a good highlight of what it's been like for a Cavs fan. For the Cavs fans who really don't have faith, who didn't have faith, and for the Cavs fans like you who did have faith the entire way, and really pulled me along the entire way, because there was a lot of times, there were a couple losses this year where I was really upset afterwards. I was like, well, some things are going to happen, Ken. But I think for a lot of fans, it's been this tug and pull of expectations versus excitement versus everything you've seen before. Now that you're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, I can't say it's been there, done that before. I can't. Like, you've made moves, you've made strong moves. To me, this has panned out now the way you want it to pan out. We'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not where the chips fall where they may. I think that the Knicks are a beatable basketball team. I know they're hot as hell, but they're a beatable basketball team. You can beat them. I do concern myself with Game 1 a little bit, but still, I mean, one of the all-time smuggling performances I think I've ever seen in a Game 7 where they won the game, they were winning the game, and they never let anybody back in, and they suffocated the fans. And I know that we took a whole bunch of fans up there. I got more on that at 643. But you really suffocated their fan base. They tried to be loud. They tried to get him back into it. I was listening to Stan Van Gundy because I knew that you kind of wanted, and he was talking. He goes, man, if they can just they were down by 15, and he's like, if they can just make a little run here, the fans will get behind him, and that can make a difference. Like it was like, if you were annoyed as a fan, you had every right to be, because they seem to kind of want to keep the Pistons into the basketball game, is what I was catching from everybody. Which, it's a Game 7. You want it to go down to the wire. But also, let's be honest, I think that there's one player on your team that a lot of people outside of Cleveland just don't like. And we'll talk about him coming up in a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, I look, my whole point this entire time was just the East was wide open. Why not us, right? And I understood that we had flaws. We had plenty of flaws. We made a trade deadline deal. We had so many flaws that's why we made a massive swing to get that much older for a player that had this well-documented history of awful moments in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that's how desperate the team was. But my point was, look at the rest of the teams. I know some of you don't watch the rest of the teams. Look at the other teams. They have flaws. Look at Toronto. They have flaws. Look, yes, this Boston Celtics team that I thought was going to come out of the East, but they had flaws. I brought that up consistently. The Knicks, they do have flaws, and we'll get to that probably more tomorrow about the Knicks' flaws. I think right now the Knicks are minus 265. You're plus 215. Basically boils down to you have a 35% chance. That's if you run the numbers, you have a 35% chance. And would you have signed up for that at the beginning of the year? That you had
35,
that you would have had.
Yeah.
You would have been one of Final Four teams, and you had a 35% chance of getting to the finals.
I would have been thinking it was us in Boston at the Eastern Conference Finals. But yeah, I would have taken 35%. That would have been. Yeah.
So that was, look, did I have tremendous belief that this team, especially after Game 6, was going to get done? No, or after they lost the first 2 games. But this series and these playoffs have had wild swings for almost everybody, including the Knicks, by the way. Their fans thought they were toast in the series against Atlanta. So let's not act like they were some perfect team that everybody's been on all year. Outside Oklahoma City, look, it's been their year pretty much throughout. Oklahoma City's look like the dominant team. It kind of does look like varsity JV, but they did last year too, and then they almost lost in Game 7. So these things can take on wildly different appearances based on the day, based on the week, based on the month, based on the series, based on the game, based on home, based on away. So I do think you're in a point, like, I don't need to talk down to people today. Like, you're one of 4 teams playing. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. Everybody thinks you're going to lose. Nobody's going to pick you. You're not going to have any
outside
national.
Of Cleveland, they do. Yeah.
There will be no national. You might as well put it up now. We're not on Amazon Prime again, are we?
This is on NBC and ESPN now from here on out, right?
Thank God.
ESPN.
And that's no shot at Kevin Harlan or Ian Eagle. You guys did yeoman's work. You had to do some heavy lifting for basically everybody else. But nobody's going to pick you. They're going to put up the graphics. It's going to be clean sweeps. You're going to have Stephen A., Kendrick Perkins. They're all going to say that Zach Lowe already said, I think I'm going to pick the Knicks in 5. Okay. Hey, you know what? Well, let's see how it shakes out. But as I have said consistently, when they were the 4th or 5th best odds to win the title, and today you're the 4th best odds to win the title, there's only 4 teams left, and you're the fourth team. But this is not a bad spot to be in at all. Yeah. I think you should embrace it. It's now officially going to be a deep playoff run. You've already had 14 games.
Yes.
So let them know, as the Cavs say. Yes. Like, why not? Why not the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I really think that the time, at least for right now, the time for naysaying and the time for, listen, there's very little that you can predict throughout this. Like, again, I try to, and I wasn't trying to be like radio dummy guy. It was trying to see what we do best. I did think that I thought that Detroit was a far advantageous matchup for us. When it goes 7, I don't think it can be that advantageous, to be honest with you. So I guess I'm wrong in a lot of senses there. I thought they'd win Game 6. They didn't win Game 6, and then Game 7 again. I was nervous the entire day yesterday. So I really can't speak with confidence about anything. I'm just excited about the loss. And I think I'm excited that they didn't lose. I'm excited that they're going forward, and I'm excited about the win and that they get to go play the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think for so many people, we try to learn more from the losses than we knew anything about the wins, because the wins just seem to be either expected or they seem to be happenstance. It's like, no, there's reasons for all this stuff. And I get that people are hammering Kenny Atkinson for a couple of things today. We get to that, but I still think that with everything there, I think today should be a day of, I think relaxation, getting breath, getting your breath back, and starting to get excited for the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's what today is really about for me as a fan. And it really should be about for a lot of folks as a fan.
And you're officially the Game 7 conquerors. Remember this? I don't trust them. Oh, they're on the road. I don't trust them. They won 2 road games in this series.
They did.
They went and knocked the 1 seed in the mouth, the tough team, the big bad Pistons, and they were not afraid of them. They did not there was no psychological damage. Like, they hung in there. Did they have absolutely the lowest moments you can have? Yes. They also had some pretty freaking high moments, like essentially a wire-to-wire win in Game 7 on the road. Is that not pretty impressive? Is that going to officially end the malaise, Cleveland? Like, can we put that to bed? Like, maybe some of you guys had good reason to keep them at arm's length. That should be over now. Come on.
216-474-0092. Tony and Ash Debula, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Tony.
Hey, what's going on? I was at the game last night.
You were all the way out there. All right, Tony, what's going on?
45 bus loads?
No, me and a couple of friends drove up. I had a little radio. I was listed to 97, won the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Mahorn said at the end of the game, well, I guess the league got what they want, the Cavs and the Knicks. Well, I walked out of Little Caesars Arena. I waited till Mahorn was walking out, and I went up. I said, hey, you remember me from Friday's game? He said, yeah, I remember. I said, well, guess what? The Cavs punked you guys.
Well, you're saying that Rick Mahorn was calling the Cavs soft?
So you let Mahorn know is what you did, Tony.
Yeah.
Were you behind glass? Because I'd be afraid to say it to Rick Mahorn. Tony, thank you. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, listen. I called yesterday. I'm a former Navy SEAL. I'm not small. I'm 6'8", 280.
What?
Congratulations on all your success.
You're 6'8", 280?
This call took a turn.
I don't believe.
Well, that's bigger than Rick Mahorn. All right, Tony. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your service, and thank you very much for the call.
Yes.
We
I think
appreciate
he grew 2 inches on the call.
Holy cow.
And thank you for your smack talking to Rick Mahorn.
Did Rick Mahorn really say that on the radio on the post game?
I don't believe anything that just happened in that phone call.
I just think he didn't get much sleep.
That's the Air Force vet who said it.
Yeah,
that's Owen.
That's fine.
I can't say that's you.
I'm not 6'8". I might be the other part.
That's you.
Calling our decorated armed servicemen liars. Wow.
Wait, hey, we're not allowed to do it. There's only one who might be, and that you know what? We're going to move on.
I just like to say what the people think.
I'm just going to move right on there. Thank you very much for your service as well, Owen.
Stolen valor? Is that where this call went?
216-474-0092. You feeling excitement? You feeling relief? You feeling both today? How do you feel about this Cavs team? Are you feeling confident again about this Cavs team? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app as your Cavs head to the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow against the New York Knicks.
Spring has sprung and
We have different identities when different players are on the court. We're able to adapt to many different styles of play. But when we play that basketball where first we're getting stops and then everybody's running, the ball is moving, I feel like we can beat any team. I feel like we can go out there and be at the highest level of Cavs basketball. The ball is moving, everybody's touching it, everybody's involved, and that just speaks to Don and James getting us in our offense.
Cavaliers, the way they played last night, again, surprising how easy the game was. I thought for sure that Detroit would, because it's a game of runs, and I thought Detroit would crawl back. And once they got up about 12, I was like, well, let's see how far it goes, because they did give up a 17-point lead earlier, which I'm like, let's not freak out. This is the NBA. It happens. And then it got over 20, and it stayed over 20, and they just never, ever, ever let them back up. And it was exactly as Jarrett just said. It was a complete team victory. He was fantastic in this game, and I'll get to some more audio here on him just in a second. Donovan Mitchell was obviously exceptional. From what you have with Evan Mobley was great in this game. What did you think of James Harden? Before we go on with anything else, what did you think of James?
Well,
because there was one turnover in the game, and there was a bunch of assists. I'm going, well, he did what was necessary in this game.
Well, there's no doubt that he didn't have his jumper going yesterday. So the key was going to be, could he make up for it in other ways? It was kind of a non-spectacular, just he was there. He logged the most minutes.
Yeah.
So, he's big for spacing. He had some nice shot creation for some other guys. Got some rebounds in the middle, but it was, I'm not going to say Game 7 Harden was amazing. Oddly enough, he was plus 31. So they continue to trust him. They continue to trust him, and when you talk to our fans,
he actually was plus 31. You're right. Go ahead.
When you talk to our fans, their guys, especially the ones that didn't want to make that trade, they trust him. They like the least of anybody on the team.
Well, he
had a very up and down series. He's had an up and down playoffs.
There are some people who, just because he changes his jersey doesn't mean they're going to trust him overall.
Sure.
And fine, you could sit there and go, hey, it's been 17 years. He's not going to just change his stripes for anybody here. And I remember what Danny Green told Baskin and Phelps earlier this week, where they try to look at it and go, well, he really likes being here. And Danny Green's like, he likes winning. He likes winning and not having to be the number one guy, and he's winning, and he's not having to be the number one guy here. That's why he likes it. I can accept that.
What I tried to sell people on the role of James Harden, and at times I think they've asked him to eclipse that role, which I think is when you get into dangerous territory. But when I tried to sell the trade to people, I said the first thing is this: you're thinking of James Harden from 10 years ago. He's not going to be that, nor does he need to be. He can come in and have these bursts, and we've seen that at times. Think about the game where he hit 3 clutch shots in the final 2 minutes when other guys were afraid to shoot. He still is that guy. Yes, if he's the focal point of another team's defense, they're going to smother him, they're going to force turnovers, it's going to be ugly. That's not what you want. But at the same time, you can see, Atkinson had no problem having him out there. Crucial sessions of the playoffs, segments of the playoffs that he was out there. And defensively, he's going to get smoked by quicker guys. And, there were times when Cade Cunningham went right around him because Cade is a much better player at this stage of his career and an all-NBA second-team, player. But at the same time, I thought he was competent, James Harden, defensively. I thought he was competent throughout both series. I think he can guard wings that surprised people. He really gave fits at times on closeouts, and he was a good helper on Cade as well as they kind of adjusted their defense. So I think that's all you can ask for. I'm sorry, when you had Darius, at times it was man, can we hide him? I don't think they had to hide James all series.
And that's the difference.
You didn't want him on Cade Cunningham exclusively.
And I just think we can keep it healthy with James, and this is kind of big picture stuff. I'm not looking for him to love us. When you trade for Donovan Mitchell in the middle of his prime, you need him to love you. Because we've been burned here before. It's a Midwestern city that gets burned by big-time stars. We're like a lot, but obviously we're special because of who in the past. Donovan, people need to feel like he loves it here. And I do think he really, really, really likes it here. I do. They have to trust him because a lot of people, the second he got traded here, it was a lot of the NBA media going, where's his next stop going to be? Where's his next stop? For James Harden, it doesn't have to be that way. James Harden's 36 years old. I don't need to worry about any of the other stuff when it comes to James Harden. It's like, okay, go out and play good basketball for us, and let's see where we can go with this thing. He's at the end of his career, and so I'm fine with how he is. I'm fine with this being who he is, and who he is, if we get to a Game 7 against the Knicks, I'm going to hope that I kind of got the same type of performance that I got from him last night, where it's like, hey, let's disperse, let's facilitate, let's create for everybody else. If you happen to heat up, great. But if not, I know your history. I'm willing to accept a game like that last night. I thought it ended up being solid.
I would say this, because I do want to get to Donovan, because I think we're burying the lead on Donovan, what I called a superstar performance last night.
That's what it was.
It doesn't look like that at 26 points and 8 assists.
Didn't have to be. Only had to play 31 minutes.
But Harden, what I did think he has given this team in both series is when guys were up against it and were really having trouble, and despite his turnovers and how bad he has some of the worst turnovers you've ever seen, like in basketball. We can just throw that out there. But I tried to make a case at the end of last week how he can make up for those turnovers, and then delineating why some of those turnovers happen can also be the source of some good because of his creativity and the way that he continues to help their spacing. He would hit some shots when it looked like either the Pistons or the Raptors were going to take over the series, and he would keep things at bay. He would keep things close. He would find a way with the hard hat lunch pail to earn his way to the free throw line. I know you might not like it if you're not rooting for him, but he would get himself to the free throw line, and they would survive certain moments with James. I think that was important, but I do want to get to Donovan. This is going to go down as, all right, ho-hum, 26 points, 10 of 22. That's a lot of shots to score 26 points. None of that is going to jump off the screen like, say, his second half earlier in the series to just go on a tear and score 39 points, or the times when he dropped 50 a few times in the playoffs, or the handful of times he's been able to drop 40, the massive 30-point specials that he's had. This, to me, was Game 7 on the road, the superstar earning that money because he just made the right play every time.
Yeah.
He wasn't a black hole.
Yeah, you're right.
He moved the ball. He fed the bigs. And defensively, he ratcheted it up to a point I have not seen from him really all year. And I think that was huge.
7 o'clock, if I say this, you're going to have to hold me to it. What is this? I'll tell you coming up at 7 o'clock, and at 6:43. I think Kenny was just trying to tell a nice story and ended up coming back to bite him in the ass in the postgame yesterday, because there's a lot of people making a big deal about something Kenny said. I think you're right about what you just said about Donovan Mitchell. And again, it's that if you want to be the superstar, we got to trust you in those big moments. If you're going to be the number one, and this is where it's like, well, Kenny, I contradict myself. I'm almost talking to myself here. You're contradicting yourself because James Harden has been a number one, a 1%er. He has been. I don't think he's that guy anymore. I think he's a tremendous player, but he's not what Donovan is supposed to be to you. Donovan is supposed to be the alpha. He's supposed to be the number one, and he played like it last night. He played like a guy, and he's played like it at times in the series too, where he played like a guy who's going to put a team on his back and carry them to another level. And that another level is finally to a conference finals for the first time in his career, and it seems that he finally got the monkey off his back. Hopefully, that means he can play loose and the rest of these guys can play loose, because frankly, this has been the biggest albatross hanging around their neck is, when are you going to get to a conference finals? We made all these moves. We can't even get to a conference finals. There's been so many people who have said, last year especially, this is the year. This is the year they don't just get to a conference finals, they get to an NBA finals, and obviously it blew up in our faces. For this year, though, what Donovan has done and taking them to an Eastern Conference Finals and a wide-open year in the East, absolutely wide open. Detroit was better than I gave him credit for. Toronto ended up being better than I gave him credit for. And you can look up and down and go, Philadelphia didn't see them getting out of the first round. Atlanta, everybody thought that they were going to surprise the New York Knicks, and that Mike Brown was going to end up being fired. It's been a wide-open time, and a guy who you're supposed to count on decided to take his team, take advantage of this situation, and put his team in the Eastern Conference Finals. What you say about Donovan Mitchell can't be underlined enough. It really can't be underlined enough for what he's done for the organization, for what he did with the team last night. I mean, that's what it's all for. You trade those picks, you trade those players that people liked before. They liked Colin Sexton a whole bunch, and you make a trade for a guy like that who does have a little bit of criticism, not baggage, criticism that surrounds him. Go to Shaquille O'Neal, go to inside the NBA, the whole thing. And then he answers it, and now you're in an Eastern Conference Finals. You're one of the 4 best teams in all the NBA out of 30. That stands for something in this league. I don't care what anybody says.
Listen, I think it's tough. The playoffs can be a gauntlet. I think people forget how tough the playoffs are supposed to be and are for most other teams that have mortals and not immortals like LeBron James on their team. You know, I said at the start of the series, I'm like, hey, you know, the Denver Nuggets, they have arguably the best player in the NBA, right? He's at home watching the festivities, right? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are at home watching the rest of the festivities. Luka got injured, couldn't participate. Like, yes, Donovan had his struggles in this series. It has not been a great playoffs for Donovan Mitchell. But to me, that was such a Herculean effort that people are going to miss if they just look at the box score. And I think you got to be careful with that. You have to look at how he kind of owned that game, and his presence was felt on every possession on both ends.
If I say what I'm going to say at 7 o'clock, you got to hold me to it emotionally. I'll tell you what that is at 7. Coming up in 5 minutes, I think Kenny Atkinson was just trying to tell a nice story. He might have got caught in a Jimmy Haslam moment. Let me explain in 5 on The Fan.
This traffic report is brought to you by Petiti's Garden Center.
At Petiti.
Hi, I'm AJ Petiti. Shop Petiti Garden Centers now for buy one, get one free on annual hanging baskets. Plus 50% off lilac shrubs, azaleas, knockout roses, and select arborvitae. Petiti's, we're locally grown and family owned.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
So I swear to God, this has to do with the Cavs. Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:20 this morning. How far does he have the Cavs going? Our buddy Justin Termin going to join us. Host of NBA Today on SiriusXM NBA Radio, also NBA TV. He'll join us at 9 a.m. What do the Cavs have to do now to get through the New York Knicks? Swear this is Cavs related. So years ago, the Browns drafted Johnny Manziel. And the funny little anecdote that was thrown out there was Jimmy Haslam said that a unhoused man on the street told him as they were leaving some place to draft Johnny Manziel. And then Johnny ends up being a bum, and it turns out that from then on, it's been a bum taught you into drafting a bum, is basically what fans have called in and said. And I think he was kind of going for a fun story. It ended up being a total disaster because Johnny's a total disaster. It made me think of last night, that story. The reason I bring it up, because I think Kenny was just trying to tell a nice story, and I wake up to like 30 I'm not lying, 30 texts about Kenny apparently having his head up his ass when he said this about having dinner with the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's the coolest thing. And it was like a surprise. Like he just kind of surprised us. I'm not having dinner with Dan every night, right? It's kind of special. It was cool that he did that. He made the effort to come see us. He just had some sage advice, right? Like, it's like, man, this guy's probably knows the team better than me. He knows these guys better than me. And so he made me think, especially the JA thing. I was like, JA's the key to this? You sure? He was right.
Because Jared Allen ended up having a fantastic game. And I woke up this morning at 3:20, and it was nothing but a bunch of texts saying that Kenny doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, come on. I think he's listen, the owner is a ball knower. He's a basketball guy. He knows the game. Without a doubt, he knows what he's talking about. However, come on, he's an NBA head coach. He didn't really.
The people that
didn't think.
Hold on, the people that are texting you are suggesting what they needed.
That Kenny didn't know what he was talking about.
They need to run a bunch of plays for Jared Allen.
He's an NBA head coach, and an NBA head coach should know that the game had to go through Jared Allen. He shouldn't have to have the owner tell him.
Guys,
that's what was relayed to me by. You can look at the phone, man. 30 different people.
The game does not. You're not playing through Jared Allen. No, the point of Jared Allen is, all right, a couple of switches a game. Maybe you get a guard pinned on him and then, like, all right, get him the ball. But the problem is he's never been a good free throw shooter. Last night, they all were missing free throws last night. He missed 6, but he was 7 of 13. You'll take that. But no, do I think against the Knicks we're running offense through Jared Allen? No, I do not. I disagree with your friends, Kenny.
Well, they were saying about the game last night against Detroit. Yes, go ahead.
Let's put a little more context to exactly what Dan said to Kenny in their dinner before Game 7.
Thank you.
I had dinner with Dan Gilbert last night. He came over to our hotel. He goes, you know who the key to this whole thing is? The spark of this is Jared Allen. I said, really? People who observe from afar, plus Dan knows the team well and knows these guys. It was really, I was like, man, I went to my room. I'm like, man, I'm going to run the first play for him.
I get totally where you're coming from, Kenny. It sounds like he went, I've never thought about Jared Allen being good at basketball.
He's a pro coach.
Thank you, billionaire owner.
He's a pro coach. And not a lot of people. What do you think Kenny's approval rating is in the city? We did this with Stefanski all the time. Is it over 50%? Kenny Atkinson's approval rating, is it over 50%
in the city? It might be getting back to 50%.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It seems like...
So there's definitely a lot of people who don't really trust Kenny, right?
It seems like people act like had they have had a different coach, they would not have struggled versus Toronto and struggled against Detroit. Even though Detroit was the series favorite in the 7th.
Who would have been the coach?
The 1 seed.
You got to have answers, though. Who would have been the coach? We do this all the time in football. It's like, okay, you can give me coaches that you like, but in basketball, I don't hear a whole lot of alternatives to what you have. I mean, you could kind of go with Barrejo if you wanted to, but you're really just going to give me Kenny Atkinson and go, well, Kenny Atkinson can't fit the bill. Figure it out, get rid of him, and get somebody else. So when he says this, it totally reminded me of the Jimmy situation with Johnny, where it's like, oh God. Except, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Browns were just a nosedive and a mess out there in the ocean.
Well,
whereas
here's the
Cavs
interesting
are
thing
going
to
to
me.
the Conference Finals.
Interesting thing to me is, look, everybody just assumed if they lose that game last night, Kenny's getting fired. We have questions about Kobe Altman, right? The wild swings of opinions. This would have been one of those teams where there would have been so many questions about, are they moving Mobley? Did they trade Donovan to get out of having to pay him $70 million a year? What do they do with the Harden situation? If they supposedly had a handshake deal that he's going to get 2 years, who knows, $80 million, $90 million, whatever. You're going to pay him that late. Like, we would sit here and talk about all these deals for a team that was in the second apron, and he's just having dinner with the coach like the night before when everybody has written their obituary. It is. I know they make a lot of money in that league, so, they can be professional. But I do wonder what Kenny was thinking, because there were times in this series where they would show him on the bench, and he kind of had this cheesy smile right before the games, like as he was getting in his Zen mode. And you would look and go, what is he thinking about this team? Does he think this team has what it takes to get past this round? He's such an honest guy in these settings.
Yeah, but what I'm pointing out is coaches come and coaches go, and we don't need to necessarily look for things like, I don't think JB Bickerstaff is a bit of a blowhard, and that's coming from me. JB is a bit of a blowhard. I never called him stupid. I don't think he's stupid, and I don't think that Kenny's stupid. I really don't know if there are any stupid NBA head coaches. I mean, there might be a couple out there, but I don't think that Kenny Atkinson is, and I didn't think that JB was, or is for that matter. And it just, I could see it getting a little bit overblown this morning, and I kind of wanted to head it off. I understand what Owen's saying. I respect what Owen's saying. I know a lot of people kind of took it as if, like, hey, come on, you sound like a buffoon when you're saying these sort of things. He's a fantastic player. He's outplayed his contract.
Owen's saying this. I'm just relating what I'm hearing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Then relating what you're hearing about it, the people texting me, fine. I understand what you're trying to say. But I just don't think it's as football style as we always think it is, where we're just like, that coach is a moron.
I do think Kenny has a problem with his delivery and things. I mean, he had the whole James Harden told us to start having walkthroughs in the ballroom, and he had never done that before. But the way he comes off when he says these things are like, these are the light bulb coming on for the first time from him. I think, obviously, he's a pretty good coach, or he wouldn't even got a shot to be an NBA coach in the first place.
But
it's just, at this point, we're down to the final four teams to be nitpicky on what Kenny says. I do think is a little overblown.
And I agree. And there we go. That's where it needs to be.
I just think, Jared Allen is at this stage, and what he is, remember, we always like, we have two bigs, two 7 foot. He's not 7 feet. He's not, like, if he stood next to Victor Wembanyama, he would be like 2 feet. It would look like he's 2 feet shorter. Okay, he's not the quintessential classic center, so he can't just take advantage of the matchups that people think he can take advantage of. What he can do is come over, help provide big-time rim protection the way he has in this series, and then the activity, right? He'll never, maybe two Game 7s. He's had terrific Game 7 performances. Maybe we can officially put to bed the lights are bright, the comment he made, a few years ago.
I think you're playing the Knicks coming up tomorrow.
I'm saying has he not just had two mammoth Game 7s?
True.
Like, so, fine, use the words against him. Maybe that'll fuel him. Maybe that's bulletin board material. But a guy like Jared Allen, he's not going to be able to be consistent every game. That's not who he is. But man, was it awesome to see that level of intensity. That's what he does need to have to bring. He is going to have to bring that intensity. Yeah. I don't think he's going to play great every series. This Mitchell Robinson thing, I thought the last time they played the Knicks, and we're going to talk more about this tomorrow with the matchups. The last time they played the Knicks, the rebounding was kind of a draw. And our bigs held up, and it's going to have to be that, because it is going to be a war.
You're going to have to say that over and over.
Bear hugs underneath the rim for the entirety of that series.
You're going to have to say that over and over, because the way a lot of people remember it, when Mitchell Robinson was basically rubbing their nose in it at the end of that series, like you're bringing it up that it was relatively even. Like, I think a lot of people will remember that, getting ready for tomorrow, thinking that Jared Allen was just absolutely owned at the boards by Mitchell Robinson all series long. So you're going to have to repeat that. The only thing I'm saying on Kenny's behalf is that when they were winning 64 games in the regular season, I think a lot of people just thought it was kitschy and fun and anything like that. Now, when they've lost a series to Indiana, which Indiana just beat them because they were better, when you've lost a series to Indiana, when you failed to exceed the expectations that are set there, the lofty goals that are there, there's always going to be those comments that are picked apart. And I think we got a little bit, at least the people that I talked to, I thought that they were a little bit too nitpicky about what Kenny said yesterday. It does come off a little bit goofy. I will admit that, but I thought he was trying to tell a funny story. 216-474-0092. All right, I'm going to say this at 7 o'clock. You're going to have to hold me to it. Okay? You have to promise me you're going to hold me to it because it's going to get emotional this week. And I have to remember what I said if I'm going to say this coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
No, it's going to be special, but they are a talented team. Obviously, it starts with Jalen Brunson and Cat, but Mikal and Noji have been phenomenal. Josh Hart, when we look at their bench, has been great. So we know them, obviously, but I think the biggest thing is they've been off for they got a bunch of rest, so we got to be ready to go from the jump, from game one. And to that point is, yeah, it's great. I get to play at home, woo, but doesn't matter. We got to be locked in and ready to go. And I know we will be, and they're a tough team, and we're excited.
Cavs win by 31. They're showing the fans get off the buses this morning as they came back. Owen said he passed the buses this morning.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 different buses.
Isn't it amazing? So what, Dan, basically it's all expenses paid to have just a fun night in the city. Now, we caught wind that some people were upset with themselves that they didn't take advantage of, you had a chance to sign up. Certain people did. It was a lot of partners, it was a lot of season ticket holders, and a lot of employees, right? That could take advantage of this.
Right.
So I told you, I talked to so many people in Cleveland over the weekend that just thought it was over, just thought it was done. They weren't going to win. I'd be lying if I told you I was puffing my chest out about that. Would you have taken the bus ride to enemy territory?
For a Game 7?
All expenses paid, but that's one of the worst bus rides home. I mean, you really have to believe. You really have to believe to sign up for that.
I don't know. It is a Game 7. I went to a closeout game against the Yankees. And that sucked leaving there. But it was still you got to go. It's an ALCS. If you get offered, you got to go.
It was at home.
Yeah.
It was also not a Game 7.
True.
I mean,
but it was a closeout. Suck when they roll that stage out there.
If you have the opportunity, it's probably something you want to do.
Well, it turned into the best trip ever because the Detroit fans evacuated in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was a total takeover. So the people that did sign up are documenting it. It's social media. Should have gone. But if that would have gone the other way, that would have been misery. The cameras would have been showing all those Cavs fans. And where would you have gone?
That's right.
Where would you have gone? You'd have been stuck.
It did end up being, it could not have ended up better because you win and you won by 31. So, a lot of, as you just said, if you go back and if you still were watching last night, if you're watching in the fourth quarter, basically it just became a Cavs game because everybody had left who weren't a Cavs fan. And so the Cavs are hitting shots and people are getting excited. And if you're watching, you go, what the hell's going on? Because there's a bunch of Cavs fans there. There's 25 buses, which... One, it's probably one of the finest moves I've ever seen an owner do. It was fantastic. Two, I did get a firsthand account of Game 5. I talked to somebody yesterday who went to Game 5, and he was over the moon about it. And he's not an employee. I don't know if he's a season ticket holder, but I know he's not an employee. And he was over the moon about it, about how first class it was. You got the ticket. You got to go up there. Apparently, there's a place very close that Dan Gilbert owns, a building. Obviously, he owns a lot of buildings in Cleveland and in downtown Detroit.
Yeah, they were doing pep rallies before. I can't imagine what that was like after.
And he said it basically, you walked in the room and it was anything you wanted to have, and it was before and after the game. And so they came back. I mean, they came back this morning at 4 a.m. for crying out loud. So a lot of people were having a good time last night, and rightfully so. Ends up being the greatest time ever for a Cavs fan. But the alternative is you don't know they're going to win by 31 on the bus ride up there. But I still think it's something to behold. You know me. I know I wouldn't do it. I know me. I know I'd be terrified of the drive back, the sinking feeling back, being there with a bunch of Detroit fans losing their minds. I know me. You know me. I don't think I'd do it. Would you do it?
I'd be nervous. I think
but
I
it still
would.
Is a hell of an experience.
And me being the hoops junkie, I think can't pass up. I couldn't pass up Game 7. I got to go. But man, would that be miserable if they lost? The good thing is they won. Now I don't think Dan's going to be doing this for MSG. Have you seen the get-in price? I mean,
is it $600 still, or has it gone up?
Dropped a little bit right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we don't have prices yet for the Cavs because they haven't officially. Listed them or whatever. We do know this, and we have heard from multiple people. The Cavs are doing everything they can legally to box out New York Knicks fans for, would it be Saturday night?
Yes.
They are doing everything they can. Saturday and Monday, unless...
Thursday, Saturday, Monday.
So, there's only so much you could do, right? And if a season ticket holder really wants to sell their tickets to Spike Lee directly, but online... the Cavs are doing everything they can. They do not want what happened in Philadelphia to happen to Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, there's a couple things where if you just have a bunch of guys, like I don't want this to turn there. Okay, so going back to the 2016 World Series, there were a bunch of people who go, whoa, wait a bleeping minute. You're a Cubs fan? Since when? Since when was this guy a Cubs fan? Since when was that guy a Cubs fan? I swear to God, there was a lot of people who I just never knew they were Cubs fans coming in, and now they were. I know Spike Lee's a Knicks fan. If Spike Lee is willing to give you so much over market price, fine. I'm serious. Go ahead and sell it to Spike Lee. But you don't want 10,000 Knicks fans doing bing bong in your lower bowl. I don't even know if they do bing bong anymore. But I don't want 10,000 Knicks fans doing that stuff in your lower bowl. That's what Spike Lee, he kind of goes along with the game in certain ways. But when it comes to everybody else, it's like, no, keep them out of there. Is Jerry Ferrara coming on yet? Do we know?
We exchanged a nice
so
nice
that's
series.
A no. So don't sell your tickets to Jerry Ferrara.
We exchanged a nice series of texts.
Yeah, that's simple.
If he comes on the show,
sell your tickets. Yeah, but that sounds like he's deciding he doesn't want to come on. Is that it? Turtle doesn't want to come on.
He's feeling pretty good about the Knicks. So you can't tell him anything right now. They are very cocky.
Well, he can come on and be cocky all he wants, but if he doesn't come on, then don't sell him the tickets. Don't sell Turtle your tickets. Fine.
Don't sell Turtle.
That's an official show stance.
Title that video, Joey. Don't sell Turtle from Entourage
Don't sell Turtle the tickets. Don't do it. And at Jerry Ferrara on it while you do it, just because. Still a good show. He was still good in that show. I'm not going to take that away from him.
Our producer, who is not in the age range of somebody who
loves
is around.
Turtle.
His dad put him on the show. He says he's seen it like 12 times.
Yeah.
I could quote that show by heart. It's the best. You can't quote any of it on the radio, but it's the best.
It's basically the equivalent of Andy or Jeff and Andy getting excited that like Otis from Andy Griffith would come in here. Or something
John, were you conceived during that show? Is that possible?
No. That show came out in 2005.
Do you know the story behind your conception? I know the story behind mine.
I don't. My parents are no longer together, so I never asked.
Oh, I think that'd be a great story to go over if your parents weren't together.
Why don't you book them on separate days?
They were together at least once. We know that. Don't you have a brother or a sister?
That's all it takes.
Yeah, I have a younger sister.
Okay, they were together at least twice. Congratulations on all their success. So, speaking of success, I'm going to say this, and you're going to have to hold me to it. Because I don't know, like tomorrow, you will have played 4 games in 7 days. Now you're playing 5 games in 9 days. Like, there's a lot of basketball that you're playing, and the Knicks have just been sitting around. Now, you could tell me that maybe the Knicks are going to get rusty. I'd love to hear that. That'd be fine because they sat around. Maybe it's a bad matchup. Who knows? Let me tell you this. You put this team together to get here. To me, I feel free this morning. To me, the season's already a success. Now, you can don't take that the wrong way to think that I'm already like, okay, we've had our fun and now we're going to go out there and get drilled. No, that's not what I'm pointing out. And Joey, don't do it like that because I know Joey will want to do it like that or somebody else will want Joey to do it like that. That's not it. But what this all was about was getting what the moves were. If I'm just looking at the moves, all right, you want to go as far as you can. Cavs fans want to go as far as you possibly can.
Now we got to ask the question.
But I think the season is now officially a success. You're one of the 4 best teams in all the NBA. You have one of the smallest teams in all the NBA with your backcourt there. Your number 1 is Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry. This is a successful. I'm not sorry. This is a successful season. How is this not successful?
I will stop short. I'm loving that they moved on. I didn't love the fact it took 14 games and you're relying as much as you are on a 36-year-old. With that said, I am so pumped for this series. I am so ecstatic. We're in the Eastern Conference Finals. I also know that if they lose in 4 or 5 games, it's not going to feel like a success at all, and we are going to have.
And that's why
we are going to have big questions.
I thought about it last night, and I thought about it this morning, and I said I'm going to say it in the 7 o'clock segment because I wanted to make sure I meant it when I said it, and I gave gave myself as many chances as I could to back out. Who's the number 1 on the Knicks? Is it Jalen Brunson?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, now a 2-time MVP after the weekend, and Victor Wembanyama, right? That's 3 guys. Your guy's Donovan Mitchell. That's 4 of the best players in the NBA. You're establishing you're one of the 4 best teams in the NBA. I'm sorry, this is a successful season. I would love it to end up in an NBA championship. Obviously, that would be the most successful of seasons, but you cannot tell me it's not a successful season. They started out 17-16. People were wanting the coach fired. People were wanting people traded. People were wondering about Donovan. You went out, you made a bold move for James Harden. Anytime you make a move like that, ask anybody. It takes time to gel. You got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now we can kind of calm down and see where it goes. And if they win this, obviously, you better say it's a successful season, because I think that this has been a success now. You're one of the 4 best teams in all the NBA. All right? You're one of the 4 best teams. I know you're one of the most expensive teams. Just because we see it in baseball, just because you spend all the money doesn't mean you can just buy a championship. Somebody's going to stand ahead of you, or somebody's going to stand in front of you. So I think that you have to be honest with each other, not taking the emotion out of it. Seeing what they did, it's a successful season. And everybody should remain calm about what happens. And I know that's saying that I'm not worried about tomorrow night. I would just not pick them to win tomorrow night, because one team's been sitting around waiting on them and practicing and getting their rest, and the Cavaliers have been in a dogfight of a series against the Detroit Pistons. I think they'll probably use tomorrow I want them to win, but I think they'll probably use a lot of tomorrow to learn about the New York Knicks. Frankly, that's how I stand on it. And if you think that's me pussyfooting around the situation, I got to tell you guys, that's just me being brutally honest about all this stuff. They're a fantastic team. They're in the Final Four, what you would call the Final Four of the NBA. They're one of the 4 best teams. Tomorrow might not go our way. I'll focus on that tomorrow. I still look at this season as a successful season now because of what they just accomplished last night. 216-474-0092. Do you believe the season is now a success? Or do they have to go even further for that word to be brought out there? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
You never know how teams are going to react to a week off or whatnot. It's good for us. Just keep grinding. I think we do a great job of taking care of our bodies and getting recovery on off days. And I do think obviously the pace in the playoffs it's much more physical, but the pace is slower. I feel like it's, at least for me so far, it hasn't felt quite as difficult. We got a quick turnaround here. Got to get on a flight right now and do a day of prep and get our bodies right and try and go out and win game one.
The 30-year-old Sam Merrill on playing basketball every other day. Sam Merrill scored 23 points in 25 minutes last night. He was fantastic.
He opened everything up. Honestly, him hitting those shots opened everything up, gave him that spacing, and then it's no surprise. It's the one thing I totally agreed with Stan Van yesterday. That opened up the big men being able to get to the basket with ease.
Did you like that shot he took from Usher Thompson?
I like how he responded to it, honestly.
That looked like Steve Atwater and Christian Okoye. I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that in the NBA.
You'd be surprised to know.
In a playoff game.
You'd be surprised to know, I guess, J.B. Bickerstaff complained about that call.
Really?
Yeah, he went and talked to the official about it.
He said he wasn't set?
The mild-mannered J.B. Bickerstaff, who normally he doesn't fashion himself as somebody who whines about calls, so that was a surprise to see him object to that one.
So I'm saying that this season has already been a success, and let me tell you why. It's not an emotional thing. Let me ask you, and I hate to do this. I want to be positive about everything. What happened last night was outstanding. It was a celebration, basically, of a fourth quarter with 25 buses of people at home watching the game. I mean, it was fantastic. A lot of people might just turn it off and went to bed because they just knew that this was going to go our way, and that was it. They ended up winning the game by 31. The reason I think it's a success. If this series doesn't go your way, what are you going to say, Anthony? What are you going to say to people who say to blow the whole thing up if this series doesn't go our way?
I have to see how this looks. I mean, seriously.
I understand.
It does matter because you're objectively measuring where you are against teams that you thought you were on the same playing field as. And the Knicks were one of those teams at the start of the year. They had just fired their coach, right? So they had made their sweeping move. We fired our coach a few years ago. Both teams have kind of maxed out their assets to this point.
Yeah.
Like both teams have gone all in. So now it's time to see, like, where are you? Like, I don't come into this series thinking, like, the Cavs have no shot. I know right now because they struggled in the two series and the Knicks are riding high, I think everybody is prisoner of the moment on that. Like, I think we match up in certain areas. I think we match up well against the Knicks. And I think the Cavs have shown through two grueling series that they have matched the physicality of two teams that everybody thought were more, including me, were more physical than us. And the Knicks, it's like, here's the next installment. I do think, like, Jalen Brunson is going to be targeted in 100 screen and rolls in every game. Like, that is going to be a huge source of where the Cavs are going to try to find their offense. Karl Anthony Towns, step right up. How are you going to defend the pick and roll? And then that battle in the paint. Guys, do you think that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen have passed some tests here in the postseason when it comes to the physicality? I think they have.
I think they have as well.
I think they have. We haven't talked much about Evan Mobley today. I mean, Evan Mobley.
Because Friday night was listless, and had we had to react to Friday night, who knows what type of mood we'd be in. But Friday night, it's as if it didn't even exist.
Right.
Because of what happened last night.
Lost in history. Evan Mobley showed me some signs that he is getting better. He didn't make the leap. He's not Giannis. He's not Kevin Garnett. Whatever player you decided to compare him to because you got overly excited about him, that didn't happen this year. But are you not seeing him calmly step into some of these threes and then be a terror at times defensively?
Well, the one he hit with the shot clock evaporating last night. I mean, I think he's more confident as a shooter, as a scorer.
What about some of these?
And I know that he has some dud of nights. He had a dud of a night in this series as well. But
I
think he's more confident than he's been.
But what about some of these rim-rattling dunks that he has had where he is just going after the opposing team and throwing down like that? That's an Evan Mobley I didn't really see.
Well, that's why I'm saying
before.
it, though. Again, if things don't go our way, what am I going to be shouting from the rooftops? Had they lost last night? I mean, I always, when it comes to, like, make or break games, it's always like, what do I do if they lose? What do I do if they win? What are the things that we already know that we're going to do if they lose? And I have it written down right here. Time to break it up. Who do you trade? Who is most at fault? Atkinson, is this enough? Like, worst loss ever, collapse. That's bad things. LeBron, time for LeBron. LeBron will always be a conversation until he's officially done. He'll be a conversation. I can't avoid that. Giannis, I think that conversation changes, though. After this win, I think that changes. Seeing the way they are, I think that I can get calmer heads to prevail after what happened last night, where now you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, hey, if they get blown out by 20 in every single game, maybe I'm going to have to walk these comments back. But I'm not. They're not going to do that. And I think that it's going to be a tough series. You're not favored in the series, but I think it's going to be a tough one. But say you end up losing the series in 6 or 7 games. What am I going to do? Come on the radio and say that the whole thing needs to be blown up? No. And I don't think that that's a measured response. So I have to look at myself now and hold myself accountable to it, because if they would have lost last night, it's like, okay, fine. Donovan isn't Donovan. James isn't James for the little amount of time we've had him. Evan isn't going to work out this, that, and the other. And I do believe the difference in all this is getting to where they set their bar. They set their bar at the Eastern Conference Finals. They're one of the 4 best teams in all the NBA. And now I can, even if it doesn't go our way, I can buy a little bit of time and go, all right, give me an off season. Let's gel this thing even more here with James Harden. There's going to be moves that need to be made. Obviously, there's going to be conversations about LeBron. But let's not lose our minds here. And that, to me, is the difference. If they had lost that game last night, I certainly believe that a lot of people are getting ready to go back to 20-win land again and to blow the whole thing up. Now you don't have to do or talk about any of that stuff. And to say any of it, like I pull back even envisioning it because of how much they won by last night and how much I want to celebrate it. But it's a quick turnaround to the Knicks series.
They almost you don't get any time to do that in these series.
It's a quick turnaround to the Knicks series, so I have to hold myself accountable and say, I'm going to tell you right now at the outset of the Knicks series coming up tomorrow, if it doesn't go our way, I don't think I'm going to be over here screaming and yelling from the rafters to tell everybody that everybody needs to go. I'm not going to say what I don't believe, and I don't believe it.
Yeah, now, I again, let's see how it plays out. I have a positive outlook on the series. If I was being honest, I'd pick the Knicks, right? Like, I do think the Knicks are a little better in some areas.
But you're allowed to be a fan, and you're allowed to look at that way.
But by the time that game starts tomorrow, I'm going to be 100% all in. I'm going to be decked out. I'm going to be going nuts, and I'm going to be truly excited that my team is in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I don't think there's a big gap between the Knicks and nor did I think that at the start of the playoffs. I mean, that was one of my big cases for the Cavs making a deep run. They are now checking that off. They are making a deep run. This is only the 3rd time in franchise history without LeBron they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals, and only the 2nd time in the 4-series era when they expanded the playoffs. So this is exciting times, and I think they got a shot. And if Donovan Mitchell does to the Knicks what I've seen him do at MSG over the years, this is going to be a phenomenal matchup. It's going to be a phenomenal storyline. Remember, he was supposed to be a Knick, and instead they end up with Jalen Brunson. Mm-hmm. Brunson has outplayed Donovan Mitchell twice in the playoffs, once on the Dallas Mavericks and once on the New York Knicks. That is an awesome, awesome matchup. I can't wait. That is going to be what's going to be ESPN, ABC, right? Throughout.
Yes.
So Mike Breen
is more prime.
A Knicks announcer, a fair Knicks announcer, by the way. I'm not going to be worried about getting homered like I think we were. More on that coming up in Lima Likes, earlier in the week, Game 6. But there are going to be so many awesome storylines with these two teams that I am so pumped for the series. But if it goes like 4 games or 5 games and it looks like you're not in their class, I think they still could be blowing things up. I do.
I can't see it going that way. Like, I don't know how great tomorrow's going to be, but I don't think it's going to go that way. I think that there's good matchups here. Karl Anthony Towns, this is going to be the biggest challenge to Evan Mobley. If you're not going to be the Kevin Garnett type of player, then
this matchup.
I think that Carl Anthony Towns, while it's been a little easier for the Knicks than we thought it was going to be, I'll ask Justin Termin about this coming up at 9 o'clock. I don't think that he's had to deal with a guy like Evan Mobley. I think Evan Mobley coming out there to guard him will make a big difference for this team. What you say about Jalen Brunson is absolutely right. I'm not trying to take the air out of it. I understand that I'll have to answer for it. But I look at it and go, if things don't go well, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? And you think about the accomplishment of what you just said. This is the first time they made the Eastern Conference Finals since 2018. This is the first time. How many times have they made the Eastern Conference Finals altogether without LeBron?
Yeah, 3.
You said 3 times, and this is the first time since. So it's not about a LeBron conversation as much as it is there is a future. And the future is where you have an owner that's willing to make those moves. The general manager, I think there's been pressure on him, but I'll defend him over these moves. I think there's been a lot to be said and a lot to go against, even, because people like their homegrown talent, and it felt like some of these guys that they let go of were homegrown. And some of these guys ended up having a little bit better careers than we thought that they were going to have. But what they did is something that it needs to be commended, where they decided that they were going to go all in and try to get us to a level that we haven't seen since before LeBron in a bygone era. And let's call it what it is. When you were in a different arena, for crying out loud, out in Richfield. So that deserves to be looked at with a lot of respect. And I don't think I just want to go away from it all if it doesn't go our way in a 2-week series when they spent 5 years putting this thing together. Because there's really no tomorrow. If anybody decides to go away from this core right now, you're talking about a 20-win basketball team again. And with the way that it's set up now, where it's going to be set up, which is it's going to be convoluted, but with the way that the lottery is about to be set up, I can't just guarantee you the best shot at the number 1 pick over more.
I think
I
part
can't
of the
do
reason,
those things anymore.
I think part of the reason you're being so protective of this, and you keep bringing up that this will be a 20-win team if this thing goes south.
Well, if they blow everything up,
I don't think Dan is. I think it's a pivot. I don't think it's a blow up. I don't think they're going to trade all their best players for a bunch of draft picks and start over. No, I don't think they're doing that at all. I think
so. Who are they going to trade for?
I think they're big game hunting if this doesn't go their way. And we'll have that conversation when the season's over. Yeah. But I think Giannis is still going to be someone they talk about. Hell, they could talk about Kawhi, Kevin Durant. Like they might try to pry and see what's going on with Devin Booker. Like there are a bunch of different things that they could talk about. I don't
think Devin Booker play for?
The Suns. I don't think they are going to strip away everything.
They're going to be able to get Devin Booker away from the Suns?
I've seen enemies go
okay.
Our president was just in China. Right. Like, I think all sorts of conversations can happen.
216-474-0092. But without putting carts before horses here, I know we're talking a lot about big picture stuff. I believe that this season has already been successful for the reasons that I just played it out. And I know that this is a Jekyll and Hyde team, and they can make me look like a fool tomorrow, and I don't know how well tomorrow's going to go. So I might have to take it on the chin on Wednesday morning. But I still think that they're going to be right there in the thick of this series, and they can make things go their way against the New York Knicks. But going back to tomorrow, I think, again, it's a little bit more of a relief just because you saw them when they won in Game 5. That was the most confident I've seen Cavs fans all year.
Yes.
Friday morning.
100%.
Without a doubt. When they won, or Thursday morning, when they won Game 5, going into after Thursday morning, going into Friday morning, I've never seen Cavs fans more confident this year. And had we had to do a show on Saturday, maybe it would have been different. Maybe I would have been doing it under the desk.
I am so glad we didn't have to do a show.
I don't have to act like that show exists, because the only time I've done shows now this week has been when the Cavs have done well. So I don't got to worry about any of that stuff. And to me, yes, there is that one blip in the radar where they played like garbage back on Friday, but then they come by and they look fantastic and they squeeze out the Pistons yesterday. So there should be a lot of confidence going into this series, not a just give them hell type of thing, but it's some confidence going into the series, because I do think it could be a good matchup. I just don't know how tomorrow's going to go for us, but I'll leave that to tomorrow morning. That's where I'll go. That's where I'll put it.
Yeah, they're 7.5-point dogs for tomorrow. So, nobody's going to give you a shot. Very few people are going to pick you. Hey, I think tomorrow's going to be a weird house money game for me. And I know that sounds strange.
Well, if you come away with a win on that one,
Finals,
because it puts fans in the best.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and shoot 50 threes and just say, hey, if we make our threes, we have a chance to win at MSG.
Well, okay, because at first I'm like, well, you got to have a game plan. But when you just said that, it's like, okay, I could see something like that. If you win, I think that Wednesday becomes a wild show, and it feels like you got away with robbing a bank. But even if it doesn't go your way, as long as we get something to learn from, I still think that this is going to be a good series, a tough series. I think it's a series that you can win. And based on what they've done already, I think it's been a fabulous season now, even considering there's been a lot of naysayers going on, a lot of people questioning them. And considering the history, they've had to answer that. And I think they just did last night. Coming up at 8:20 this morning, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, going to join us on the show. An Eli Manning story that you thought you'd never hear. I can't believe it. I thought we heard everything there was to hear about Eli Manning. There's something new that actually involves your Cleveland Browns at 8:01. Coming up next, Lima likes, where when the weather gets warmer, The bats get better for the Guardians. Apparently, it's science. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and Dwayne Wade apparently hated his time in Cleveland. That coming up in Lima Likes on the Fan.
My Reset. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Headline sports news every 20 minutes from the University Hospital's sports desk. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Does Lima like or does Lima no like? Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot. No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
All right, let's get to wrap up some things we had to get to about the Cavs. Did you see this?
Lime alive.
Evan Mobley had 20, 10, 5, 2, 2. What's that? No. You know what that means?
What club is that?
You know what club it is? One that only Steph Curry, LeBron, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon.
What is this?
He's in the vaunted 2010
That's my starting
5-2-2.
five right there.
The
2010 5-2-2.
2010 5-2-2.
2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2.
2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2.
He only
2010 5-2-2.
He did not have like the 30 or 40 point game that you would associate with absolute domination.
You have 40% off a collect call when you call 2010 5-2-2. I knew it.
5-2-2.
I knew it.
I remember when David Spade did those commercials.
All right,
So-
Big George Carlin
had his own.
So is Evan
did
making
have
the
his own.
leap right before our eyes? Can we say that, or is it
2010
premature?
5-2-2. I'd say so.
Every call today on the Cavs needs to start out with
2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2.
Meanwhile,
Lime alive.
one of the biggest arguments we got, maybe with other show hosts, maybe with other fans, maybe with other media members before the series and before the playoffs started was, you wanted them, you got them, and you took care of them. When there was some criticism over the last week and how the Cavs handled things, I said, give me the Pistons, give me the Raptors. We didn't know it was going to be the Raptors, but things kind of worked that way out.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be the Hawks, ended up being the Raptors. And also avoid the Celtics, let somebody else take care of the Celtics. And I was mocked and ridiculed by some here at the station. I think it worked out. Hey, it might not have been always pretty, but I think it worked out. And there is something to be said for, hey, they did. They wanted that Pistons matchup. I don't think they ever said it was going to be an easy matchup. I don't think
I thought it was going to be easier than what it was.
You know what?
I
agree.
really did.
I did too. But in the end, hey, they went on the road and won a Game 7 against Detroit. I think that means that's kind of validated.
And in that Game 7, Evan Mobley had 2010 5-2-2.
2010 5-2-2. 2010 5-2-2. One final note.
Lime likes.
Man, Dwayne Wade must have really hated his 2-month era as a Cavalier. What in the world was that on Friday night? Now, I was in marathon meetings, so I watched the first half.
Meetings for the Cleveland Marathon. The meetings were not marathon-long meetings.
The marathon meetings are what we had with our former boss here at the radio station. The first half I watched, and then halftime I hightailed it over to the arena, and then watched for the third and most of the fourth before I left, and it was time to enjoy the bar scene with, like I told you,
Cade Cunningham's dad. Lima went drinking with Cade Cunningham's father.
I did ask him flat out. I'm like, is the story true? I know we have him on
What story
record.
is true?
Well, saying he didn't want to come to Cleveland.
Oh.
And he's like, you're some nice people here. He basically beat around the bush, but he basically said, yeah, he didn't really want to.
The Trident ain't no better than us.
Well, certainly not, because they're at home watching us. But Dwayne Wade, on the Amazon Prime call on Friday night, where they paired him up all of a sudden with Kevin Harlan and Candace Parker. Like, just all of a sudden. Didn't Candace Parker's brother play for the Cavaliers? Anyway, here is what Dwayne Wade had to say on the broadcast.
You see Merrill trying to hold the screen. Asar Thompson trying to run through it. The refs want to see this one again.
I like that right there. Man, get off me, bro.
That looks like a foul on Asar Thompson.
I take it. Get off me. It's the other fouls that he gets throughout the game sometimes that is a little mindless that you want and need him on the floor. But that one, we taking that one. I love that.
I mean, he was openly rooting for flagrant fouls. I don't know that you can do that as a broadcaster. Hey, I appreciate his honesty.
Was he rooting against the Cavs, or is he just rooting for his own entertainment? Maybe he was rooting for his own entertainment.
It's just a bizarre. The whole night was bizarre. Look, the Cavs played terrible, so you would have hated whoever the broadcasters were. When your team gets shellacked, that's what happens. That was on the Cavs, wasn't on the broadcast team. But it was odd. It was an odd pairing all the way around. A group that looked like they had never worked together, and they're like, "Oh, here's one of the biggest playoff games of the year. Here you go. You guys handle it." It's just odd.
It was a little clunky. You are right.
The tone was a little bizarre.
And yeah, maybe it was a little bit heel getting from Dwayne Wade there. Maybe he didn't like his time here.
Meanwhile, we shift to baseball.
I'm alive,
folks. Your Guardians took the series. They've won 5 of 6. They had 6 home runs yesterday, and
I'm alive.
Did we get 2 from Kyle Manzardo? And did the Guardians' offense get unlocked thanks to some other forces that are happening right now in the city? Listen to Manzardo.
I think it kind of speaks for itself. I think the ball flies here, really well when it's warm out, and when it's a little bit cooler, you can have kind of a tricky time sometimes.
Who was the meteorologist who told you we have 45 perfect days?
Jason Nicholas.
Well, yesterday was that one of our 45 perfect days. It must be science. They play. You go to spring training. It's 80 degrees in spring training. You come here. It's been 50 tops for like 2 months. Now it was in the 80s yesterday. Left and right, all over the place. Everybody was getting home run balls. The guy who took the home run ball away from the kid, they could have got other home run balls. That's how many home run balls there were. I know he made up for it. Nice gesture by him, but still.
Hey, don't look now.
I'm alive.
Is that a plus 13 run differential on the season? Oh, don't mind if I do.
Man, 96 Indians better watch your ass.
They've widened that gap. They now have a full game lead in the division.
And Detroit, or you're going to Detroit, they're 20 and 27.
Yeah.
Eric Skubal's gone, and now it's just like, okay.
Must suck to be a Detroit fan right now. Must really suck.
They got a series coming up with them. You should watch your mouth a little bit.
That's a shout out to Big Mike, who texts me only when Detroit teams beat us. I didn't really hear from Big Mike yesterday.
I got a problem with Big Mike.
Where you been?
I didn't hear from Big Mike yesterday. And finally,
I'm alive.
I got to give a shout out. She didn't win the Cleveland Marathon, but the wife finished 3rd. We'll take it. We'll take it. All the other girls were like 10 years younger than her. 3rd.
I'd rather finish 3rd than 2nd.
Why is that?
Well, because it's like, okay, you're finishing in the top 3, but if you're 2nd, it's like, well, why didn't you get 1st?
Put it on the poll. Would you rather finish 3rd than 2nd?
I don't know. In my house,
well, if you're not going to win,
growing up, finishing 3rd's like 2nd loser, man.
If you're not going to win, well, wait a minute. If you're not going to win, then what's the point of finishing 2nd?
Being there? Why don't you just lay down and roll across the finish line at that point?
I'm sorry. If the Guardians in 2016 had only made the American League Championship Series, would I not be seeing a bunch of goofballs yelling at him for having a Rajai Davis bobblehead night, which is perfectly fine, but for whatever reason there were people, for reasons that they just think we're all getting soft, they were not allowed to celebrate Rajai Davis hitting a great home run. In a big moment.
But we're going to have to talk about that.
Giving us a chance.
That 10-year reunion we had over the weekend. But
it was nice.
So Sarah finished 3rd, and it was great. She assumed, hey, just finish the marathon. The temperatures and the humidity, they almost had to shut the race down.
Cool.
Going back by the medical tent is no joke. Like, seriously.
Barometrics were getting crazy.
There are people dropping like crazy, having to get dunked in the tank. They had, the IV, so the University Hospital is like incredible. The doctors there and everything, like no joke. That can be very scary for anybody that knows anything about running.
I don't know much about running, but I know that can be scary.
I think she thought she was going to come home to a hero's coronation. 2 kids do not care that mom just ran 26 miles.
When they get a little older, they'll care.
They do not care. It was screaming, yelling, the fist fights between the kids. But congratulations, the wife. I think finished 3rd.
That's a hell of an accomplishment.
Hell yeah, she's won it. She's finished 2nd a couple times. She's finished 3rd a couple times.
I'd rather finish 3rd a couple times. I'd rather not finish 2nd. I'd rather just win it or finish 3rd.
Or 4th.
The girl that won it has won it 5 straight times now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Ashton Swinford, 5 straight times. And it was muggy.
It's like the hot dog eating champion over there.
Yeah.
You either eat a bunch of hot dogs or you run a marathon, one of the two.
That's it for Lima Lights.
Outstanding. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Justin Termin going to join us on the show. Daryl's going to join us at 8:20. And before anything, I want to know how far he thinks this series is going to go. How far can the Cavs take it? Can the Cavs win it? Who he thinks is the MVP of the Pistons series, which is a question I want to ask Lima here in about 10 minutes, as well as, a story about an old Browns team that well, really could affect the future of the Browns team. Confused? You won't be in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
I want to know who the MVP of the Pistons series is from you in 5 minutes.
I got it. Okay.
All right. Don't tell me yet. Don't tell me now. Apparently, there was a story. Have you ever heard of the show Bussin' with the Boys?
I have.
Okay. Those guys do good. They do good work. It's a good show. I don't hear it very often, but from what I hear, it's enjoyable.
The
Will Compton,
Taylor Luan, and Will.
Yeah,
Luan, yeah.
Taylor Luan and Will Compton. Luan, yeah. Doug Llewellyn.
He's got the great
and Will Compton.
He's got the great mustache, right?
Yes. And it's a good show. But they had Eli Manning on. And, we always heard the story about Eli Manning and not wanting to play for the San Diego Chargers at the time they were in San Diego. I didn't hear this part, though, where it was actually the Browns who tried to get involved to go after Eli Manning.
Draft day was interesting. Obviously, I had a lot going on with, I told San Diego, who had the first pick, that, didn't quite want to go there. So I remember 15 minutes before the actual draft, it's like a Saturday in New York, and Tom's like, hey, I got good news and bad news. I'm like, all right, what do we got? He's like, San Diego wants to trade, make a trade. I'm like, all right, that's great. I said, I assume that's good news? He's like, yeah, that's good news. I'm like, what's the bad news? He's like, it's to Cleveland, and we're not going there either. I'm like, that might be a little difficult. Like, I've already hated, I feel like, by making this move, and so ended up working out, and it ended up being a trade with the Giants after I was drafted, and went to New York.
Now that was old Browns ownership. It was old Browns ownership. They didn't have any ties with the family or anything. Does this hurt my theory though?
Well,
do I need to explain my theory again?
Yes, you do.
That there's no point of trying to tank, quote unquote, and they're not trying to tank, and they're trying to set up a foundation where if they don't have great quarterback play, which they're not, they can see what they have in their QB room. If they don't have great quarterback play, then it doesn't matter. They're not going to try to tank it out, but they want to set up a nice foundation because Arch Manning can decide whatever he wants to do. And that's guys, that is, if you are an Arch Manning hater, we will have our days later on in the year. That's not what I'm trying to do now. I just feel that my theory is that if they can win, great. If they find their quarterback in their room, even better. But if they don't, they're not going to sit there and try to tank the thing out and get to the number 1 overall pick, because there's no telling what he could do, and he might just decide that he wants to game the system and come to you. However, you just heard what his uncle just said.
Yeah.
Now, that was different, but...
I have wondered. Like, over the years, I've wondered if guys like, say, Cam Newton, like how much power they could have had to steer themselves, maybe not to one particular franchise, but to steer away from the ones they don't want to go to. And we've seen so few actually utilize this power over time. I think you'd say Bernie Kosar was one of those that kind of decided where he wanted to go. John Elway, and this famous Eli Manning example. And you do wonder, is there a chance that these quarterbacks now, because they're getting real money before they ever play a down?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Like, could you see more of them? We've always done the could you see, and then nobody does it.
Yes.
But now they actually have money.
Yes.
Now they have real money.
Well, they'll either do that or they'll just go back. Like Dante Moore. What?
Well, that's the
Dante
one.
Moore
He would
went
have gone
back.
number 2
And
in this
where's
draft.
he going to go next year? Number 2.
Another bad team.
To probably another bad team if it plays out this way. My theory is he just didn't want to play for the Jets.
I mean, it could
be. And who would? I understand I'm throwing stones at glass houses here, or from glass houses here.
But you return to Eugene, and he's making
probably
5, 6, 7,
somewhere in that neighborhood, north maybe, probably.
About crazy that more money than most of us will see in our whole lives. Now he could just make one decision to go back and not get killed.
It opens
on
him,
a bad team that has had bad coaching, bad offensive lines, and then ruins the trajectory of your entire NFL career.
And you have a new head coach in Cleveland where you don't have if at the end of this year, where do you think the Jets will finish this year? Somewhere in the top 10? you would say?
Yes.
So that's probably it with Aaron Glenn. Like, you can start to see some of it already playing out in your head because we've had the same type of history play out in our head. So I'm not trying to keep going too far with this. Today's a Cavs game. Today's a Cavs day. First things I'm going to ask Daryl out of the box is about the Cavs. Justin Termin's joining us at 9. We're obviously going to be talking about Cavs and Knicks with him in this whole series. I want to ask you the MVP of the Pistons series coming up here in just a moment. However, I do think it's important that these are just one of the little things that play into it because Archman, I think that this is a different draft where maybe Cam Newton didn't have that power before. Maybe he did, and I just don't remember it. I mean, good God, after that Iron Bowl, that was an amazing performance by him. But I don't think guys had that type of power then. Now they do. Now you can go back and make $7-8 million. And I don't know when that money's going to change. I don't know when it's going to change. So until it does, you would look at it and go, maybe I do have more power than I think. Maybe I can just decide if I don't want to play for the Browns, I don't have to play for the Browns. Or if the Browns finish with the 12th overall pick and they're finished like in the middle of things and they're going, hey, we got these players. We just don't know if we have the quarterback. Maybe he likes Todd Monken. Maybe he likes the offense. Maybe we really like him. Maybe it's time to have a knockdown drag out with us from next January to next April. But that's then. I just think it's one of these things that we pay attention to now because I think we have two quarterbacks in this draft, he and Dante Moore, who could almost make a decision to go, you know what? I don't like the Jets. I don't like the Browns. I don't like the Cardinals. I don't like the Dolphins. Like, they could go ahead and do that if they really wanted to.
Well, the thing, though, that we always come back to when we talk about tanking, like the teams – they don't really have to, in many cases, tell the team to lose a bunch of games. It's all in roster formation, right? If you play a lot of young guys, you're more susceptible to losing games. And you're basically, how many starters do you have from the last two drafts that are just young guys? Now, the good news is they seem like good players as opposed to, hey, I'm starting young guys that, just happen to be on our team. Like, there is a difference there. But, how many are they starting two rookie offensive linemen? Are they starting
the Browns? Possibly.
They could be.
Yeah, it could be Fanau over at left tackle and Brailsford over at center.
So that is dangerous, even if they're good players.
Of course.
They rookie
free agents as well. I mean, it could end up being a little bit of a sticky wicket for us, certainly.
Judkins coming off an injury, but he's second-year player. Hopefully he picks up where we think he can be, and they actually have, giving him some running lanes, which he didn't really have last year. But, Fannon's young. You're starting two young wide receivers, two rookie wide receivers.
You are.
Who, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to hit the ground running. I don't know if they're going to be great out of the gate. So that's what I mean. They have so many young guys on the team. Like, typically, those teams lose a lot of games. They are projected to lose a lot of games. We didn't go over this on Friday, but after the schedule came out, some of the early sites, they had them as only favorites in 2 games all year. You're talking about how easy the schedule is. They're underdogs in every game.
Because, they're still not good.
Right.
Like, I think they're getting better, but until they can... And plus, I mean, when you have a toss-up against any one of these teams, you're going to throw it up to the quarterback. And right now, your quarterback room is not settled. We don't know who's going to win that starting job, because even if it is Deshaun Watson, they don't have a lot of faith in him, and I certainly don't either. All right, who was the MVP of this series? Because I'm trying not to overthink it. Who was the MVP of the Pistons series?
It was.
I'm going to ask Daryl about this at 8:22, but you go.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one, probably it's Evan Mobley. I was
going to say Jared Allen, and then I go, wait a minute. Am I just trying to be cutesy about it? Because I'm going to tell you another name.
Here's the thing. When you win a series in 7 games, there are a lot of guys that have to step up at various times in the series. Think about the massive middle of the series you got out of James Harden. How big that was. He didn't do much in Game 6 or Game 7 and had terrible Game 1 and Game 2. But Games 3, 4, and 5, monumental out of James Harden. The clutch shots, the 30-point performance. Like, he stemming the tide when it looked like they were going to get blown out of a game, keeping them in there so they could come back and shock Detroit. Like that. But in the end, like, Sam Merrill had a Game 7 out of nowhere. Max Strus had good moments and then would fade away. Like, it takes a village to win in 7 games. I think Evan Mobley, what he was able to do in Game 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think he came on as the series progressed. And that was huge because we were worried about how our bigs were going to match up against their bigs.
So my first thought was, that's a great pick. My first thought is Jared Allen. And then I thought about it more, and I go, am I just trying to be cute about it? Shouldn't I just say Donovan Mitchell? Should I, or should I just not say Donovan Mitchell? Like, do I have to overthink it? And is it just there? It's like, hey,
I wouldn't have screamed at anybody for saying
the easiest one to pick which it's like, did you even watch the series if you're saying Donovan Mitchell? Because there was other guys. I thought there were so many other guys that had so many pivotal moments in this series. It really did show you how there were guys that you could just really love on this basketball team. James Harden had his moment. Donovan, obviously, I think he had more moments than anybody else. Jared Allen in Game 7. You just mentioned Evan Mobley, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Dean Wade playing defensively here. Like, you wouldn't put Dean Wade as the MVP, obviously, but I think that there were different parts in the 4 wins that they have in the seven-game series that highlighted some strengths and showed you how good they can be.
Everybody was worried about our defense coming into these playoffs because over the course of the year, their metrics were failing. They're not a contender given the metrics. And I kept reminding people, well, they were missing their best defensive players during huge portions of the season. Now they got all their best defensive players out there. And couldn't you say that Cade Cunningham and Tobias Harris, they were gassed by the end of the series?
Yes.
And the Cavs threw so many different guys at those two?
I think that was part of how it mixed up because I heard a little bit of the ticket up in Detroit, and it was, who starts for this Cleveland Cavaliers basketball team, like they did it the other way around. And after Cade Cunningham and Tobias Harris, it's kind of slim pickings to who would start over some of the guys that you have on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pretty slim to be exact. 216-474-0092. Coming up in 5 minutes, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. How far does he have the Cavs going? Who does he think was the MVP of the Pistons series? And could we find out who the starting quarterback is this week as OTA start on Wednesday? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on that free. It's absolutely free, and it's spectacular Odyssey app.
where I finished 3 strokes better than John Rahm and Alex Smalley. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
A lot of reactions coming in. We'll get to some of them social media reactions coming up here momentarily. But first, it is 8:20 on a Monday. And it's time to welcome in the dangerous one. The dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. He's brought to you by
Shivan Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Hello, Daryl.
Hello, boys.
Daryl, how far are the Cavs going? We going to the finals?
I think there's a good shot that we're going to be working in June there, Ken.
Wow.
Whoa. Daryl.
Did you also know, I want to know your MVP of the series because Lima brought up Evan Mobley. He is on the vaunted 2010-522 club, which is him, Akeem Olajuwon, Larry Bird. Who else? Do you know? The 2010-522 club? Tone?
It is the vaunted club that only Steph Curry, LeBron James, Akeem Olajuwon, and Larry Bird.
Yeah, there you go. Vaunted. Who's the MVP of the series?
I think the MVP of the series could very well be Evan Mobley, but I am going to give Donovan Mitchell his flowers. I'm going to give Donovan his flowers. For all the talk about not having the killer instinct, not being able to win when it matters most. That was as complete of a basketball game as you'll ever see, what you watched last night. And I know he finished with 26 points, but, man, he opened up so much on the floor. He had 8 assists, rebounded the basketball, blocked the shot. He was everywhere, and it just felt like everything flowed through him last night. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Cavaliers, especially coming off what we all watched Friday night and how disappointing and ugly that was to watch. I don't think anybody thought that they were going to go to Detroit and just absolutely dismantle the Pistons in the fashion in which they did. So congratulations to Kenny Atkinson, Donovan, and the Cavaliers for just an absolute whooping of the Pistons in Game 7.
There was a little bit of a back and forth online. I'd like to know from you. Do you consider the season a success now?
Yeah, you got over the hump, and because I think that's what it's about. Now, you still didn't make the James Harden trade just to get the conference finals. Let's be honest about that. You made that trade with the intention of bringing him back for multiple years, and also to get you to the NBA finals and help you compete for an NBA championship. But you got over the hump. You got the monkey off your back, and now you're full circle, right? This whole narrative about the Cavaliers being soft in the playoffs, and we remember the Jared Allen comment about the lights being bright and all that after that Knicks series 4 years ago. Now we're full circle here, and it's the New York Knicks who stand in the way of the Cavaliers to getting back to the NBA Finals. So some fun storylines going into this Eastern Conference Final as well.
Have you changed your mind or your thought on who this team is when they struggle the way they do? Their lows are so low, but their highs are high, and now they've won 2 Game 7s, one of which domination on the road.
Well, they've won 6 straight Game 7s, and I do believe that might be the second longest Game 7 win streak in NBA history behind the Boston Celtics, who I think have had a 10-game Game 7 win streak. I have to double check that, but the fact that this franchise going back to 2016 and winning an NBA title there in Game 7, they're now 8-2 overall in Game 7s, riding a 6-game win streak. This team is really hard to pin down, Anthony, because you're right. The highs are the ultimate highs, but it just feels like the lows or like the depths of hell at times.
Oh, my God. Well, especially because, like, Wednesday, they played so hard and they were so physical. And they ended up winning that game. And it's like, man, we broke through. Now we're going to go back home Game 6. And it's like every goodwill that they had, it completely – like, because I got to tell you, it wasn't like the haters came out of the woodwork. There were plenty of people who were calling and tweeting on Wednesday and Thursday, or I should say Thursday and Friday morning. And immediately I'm getting some of the messages on social media just about, I was fooled, you were fooled, we were all fooled. Yep. And it didn't make me too optimistic going into last night, to the point where I couldn't believe it. Jason Lloyd was more optimistic than me. I was on the phone with him as he was driving on his way up there.
Yeah.
And a lot of us were all nervous. And, man, I still can't believe Detroit didn't make – and it sounded like Stan Van Gundy was trying to, like, will him into it a little bit to try to make it a game. But it was like, man, I can't believe they didn't even make a run. They didn't even make a run.
Yeah, I mean, even doing the show yesterday, Ken, I was saying, hey, I'd love this to be a 4-hour pep rally. Go Cavs, they're going to, move on to the conference finals and that. But I just didn't have any evidence to support it. Like, that's what I was struggling with, right? I mean, we know we've been watching this postseason. But you know what? It is a roller coaster. That is the joy as well as the pain of the playoffs, as we know here in Cleveland, is, there are great moments that you never forget. Certainly last night's game is going to be one people aren't going to forget for a long time. But then there's obviously, those painful losses as well. So the formula now going to Madison Square Garden, see if you can get one of the two. You take care of your home floor, and you're back in the NBA Finals playing for an NBA championship again. So that was the formula. This past series, they didn't exactly follow that. They did it the hard way, having to win 2 road games. But this, and I think maybe this is why I have been so tough on them this year, Ken, is because their ceiling is so high, right? They are an extremely talented team. This is a very good roster. Is it a perfect roster? No. I don't think that there's such a thing as a perfect roster in sports. You're always going to have warts and deficiencies, but it's whether or not you're built well enough to where you can fill in those holes, right? And so, when I look at this Cavalier team, like they are, in my view, I think they have the best roster in the Eastern Conference, but that doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get, the pass to a conference championship there. So that's why I'm so tough on them, because I get aggravated by not realizing potential. And this Cavalier team has so much potential. And again, Kobe Altman does not make those moves at the trade deadline just to be happy with maybe getting through the first or the second round. But again, to the question you asked earlier, I still feel like it's been successful because they took that next step. They got back to the conference final. It's the only third conference final series they will play without LeBron James on their roster. Of course, the first since the 92 campaign.
The James Harden trade, how do you grade it so far? What do you think of him and the roller coaster ride he's been on with the Cavs?
Right. Well, I mean, listen, had they lost last night, I the report had come out, I think, earlier in the day, and it was consistent with what's been put out there previous about the Cavaliers' intent. Once Harden opts out of that player option he has this summer, the intent is to sign him to a 2-year contract extension so that he's here with Donovan Mitchell for the next couple of years. The intent also, too, to try and extend Donovan. There's some talk about, okay, maybe Donovan should wait a year because he can get a 5th year and even more money by doing so, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Donovan isn't committed here. It's kind of like the LeBron conversation that we used to always have, right? What's best for LeBron financially as far as, remember that second time around, it seemed like every summer they were re-signing him because he kept opting out to increase, his annual salary. But had they lost last night, I would have been vehemently against bringing James Harden back because the mission was not accomplished. But he didn't light up the box score last night, but I felt like he filled the role last night that he needed to fill. And, so I do think that if he can just take care of the basketball, we're good. But the frustrating thing for me and James Harden in this particular series that they just won were just the volume of turnovers and the sloppy ball handling from him. It was driving me nuts. So I don't know if I have a grade for you, Anthony. I need to see how this whole thing plays out. But he played his role. He played a really good role last night, even though it didn't end up being one of the big scorers.
Daryl Ryder with us. Kenny Atkinson, is he now certified as a wartime consigliere? Can you
He's
say
safe. He's safe.
He's safe?
He's safe. He's safe. They stay. You know what? Here's the best part of last night. They staved off Armageddon, right? I mean, imagine all the things that we would have to be talking about this morning had that not gone that way. So I think we're safe. I think that, and even from Kobe Altman's standpoint here, you can justify running this thing back now. Had you lost last night, there's no justification for anything, because you would have gone through 4 years of this and not accomplished what you set out to accomplish. So, and that was kind of the argument that I had after last year's playoffs, is like, you keep running this thing back and you're just slamming your head against the brick wall and not making any progress. So they made progress. I think that you can justify running it back, but you know, there's also the LeBron thing that's going to be hanging out there this summer as well. Could he be the missing piece for the Cavaliers, assuming they don't win the NBA championship this year?
Oh, you're so dangerous. All right, and I know you cover the Browns. We got OTAs coming up on Monday. Next time we're going to get a chance to...
joy, my favorite time of year, well, OTAs.
They matter this time around. I meant they start on Wednesday, but the next time we get a chance to talk to you is on Friday.
Yeah.
So... could we find out who the starting quarterback? Not us, but do you think that they could figure out who their starting quarterback's going to be by the end of the week? Because it was Todd Monken who said it. I didn't put them words in his mouth. That by the time training camp starts, they want to know who their starting quarterback is.
I'll be honest with you, Ken. I think they got to get through minicamp, the mandatory minicamp there in June. Then, and you go into the offseason with that idea. So that, to your point, and based on what Todd Monken has been saying, you do come back to training camp with your starting quarterback. But I think you got to give it through the OTAs. You got 3 weeks of those. You got a mandatory minicamp that follows that. We'll be out there, I believe, every Wednesday for the OTAs. That's our one day that we are out there for availability. And obviously, a lot is going to be read into the reps, who's getting the reps, where they're getting the reps, who's getting the first reps up, who's getting the first team reps, who's getting the 11-on-11 reps, right? All that's going to get hyper-analyzed as it always does. But, yeah, I think you got to go through the mandatory minicamp, and then you can honestly say, hey, you know what, we've settled on whether it's Shedeur or Deshaun. That's going to be the starting quarterback going into training camp, barring any, unforeseen circumstances. I think that's the right approach in my view.
Daryl Ryder. Okay. Yeah, the QB search in there. Oh, by the way, is Miles going to be there?
I think he'll be there for mandatory minicamp. Maybe he pops in for an OTA. He's done that in years past where he'll pop in for an OTA here and there. So I don't know if he'll be there, but he'll definitely be there, I believe, for mandatory minicamp. If not, it's going to cost him some money.
Well, he ain't going to cost himself no money. So I don't – okay. That's fine.
Well, you get fined. I mean, that's why it's mandatory. You do have to show up for the mini camp, but the OTAs are still voluntary. He's not required to be there for those.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I know that's going to be one of the things that get brought up maybe on. Well, they got the Cavs game on Tuesday.
Oh, he's not a leader. He's not this. He's not that. How could you be? Yeah, I know. We all know how that song.
Well, he's not necessarily charging the light brigade over there.
Right.
So let's be a little honest. Well, you're honest, but I'll be a little honest about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Daryl, I wanted to ask, is Kevin Stefanski still the head coach of the Browns if he would have consulted with Deion Sanders last year?
Oh, good Lord. No, because I don't think that consulting with Deion Sanders would have won them more games.
What are you trying to say, Daryl?
No, I just. Oh. I mean. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. He was fired because they didn't win enough games. They ownership and leadership felt they should have won 7-8 games. They only won 5. So, I mean, and you lost to 2 at the time, I believe, winless teams in the Jets and the Titans, and you allow Carson Wentz to walk right down the field on your top defense there, 80 yards to beat you in London. So. No, they left games out there that they should have won. That's why Kevin got fired. He didn't get fired because he didn't consult Deion Sanders. Now, he did get fired in part, and Andrew Berry's on the record as saying this, because of player development. Andrew did not feel that the coaching staff did a sufficient enough job developing the younger draft picks, starting with the wide receiver room, starting with the offensive line room. Maybe Andrew has a little higher opinion of some of those players that he had brought in than maybe Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff had. But Player development, not winning enough games. Those were the two reasons Kevin Stefanski is now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, Daryl, we will talk to you on Friday. Blessings to you. All the best.
I look forward to it, guys. Hopefully the Cavaliers are coming home with a couple of wins in their pocket.
Be very nice. At least a split. That'd be very good, too.
Just go get a split. That's all they got to do. Just go win one.
Thank you very much, Daryl. The ever so dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, brought to you by
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
What he just said is exactly why it's a success. What just came out of his mouth. Because you got to realize how insane it would be. We'd be angry, and it's true. But just listen to what he said. Because if you were to say it, I were to say it, any of us were to say it, it would make total sense this morning. It would sound insane in 36 hours. What is it? We'll play it for you. Coming up in 5 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for Mentality.
Mandel Opera and Humanities Festival. The Cleveland Orchestra presents the 2026 Mandel Opera and Humanities Festival, curated by Terrence Blanchett and headlined by 3 concert performances of Beethoven's opera Fidelio, May 15th through 24th at Severance Music Center. Tickets at clevelandorchestra.com.
Cavs Knicks tomorrow, Thursday, Saturday. Game 3, which is the first game at Rocket Arena, is on Saturday at 8 p.m. Then Monday, then if needed, Wednesday, Friday the 29th, and then Sunday, May 31st, Game 7. Which Lima's going to get some Newport pleasure that weekend. You're going to Rhode Island? You gone for the whole week?
No.
Lima never takes a whole week.
No, I'm going on, Friday after the show.
Okay.
And then coming back on Monday.
Going to Rhode Island?
Yes.
Flying?
We are flying, yes.
We flying into Providence?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
In 35, 40 minutes.
Is this where is Newport on the beach? I'm serious. I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's like
one
a
of those
getaway.
Northeast coastal towns.
Road tripping segment.
This is just a you and Sarah thing?
You know, Jay Leno has a house in Newport, as did Taylor Swift. I'm not sure she sold it. But
I heard she's moving to Cleveland.
Yeah. One of those mansions.
Is this just a you and Sarah thing?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
It's her 40th.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No kids.
No children for the 40th. Well, that's a lot of fun. Good for you.
If this goes well, we'll just never have the kids again.
Well, let's just make sure they win in 6 games and...
That's what people are like. Well, what did you plan? Did you think the Cavs were? No, I thought the Cavs would move on easily.
Considering the way you guys bust my stones constantly, because it seems that every single May, Liz has something planned, and then you guys go, well, he's not a real Cavs fan. He's going to take vacation. Well, all of a sudden, you might not be back after a pivotal Game 7 against the New York Knicks.
Here is the thing. Obviously, we've already scheduled all the dinners, and you can't get into restaurants this time of year, until
of course you
the end
can.
of summer.
Shouldn't the Cavs and the NBA know that?
So the thing is, if Game 7...
Newport.
If we're going to a place that doesn't have the game on, what am I doing?
You're just going to sit there and eat your dinner is what you're going to do. You're not going to upset your wife. Over the Cavs?
I think you got to put an earpiece in at least.
No.
And do the
Lou Brown?
Hand on your ear the whole time, like just intently listening to her. But really?
Like I'm getting fed lines.
Gets a hellacious dunk.
Evan
Mobley. Hell yeah! I love this Cabernet.
A wonderful episode of Home Improvement where Tim did the same thing for a Lions football game.
It's true.
Everybody else around us wearing their seersucker, their vineyard vines are like, whoa.
Right after that was a brand new A&W root beer Dana Carvey show.
Daryl Ryder. That was after the cancer episode, though. Daryl Ryder was with us just a moment ago. This is the exact reason why I think that the season is a success. Listen to what Daryl just said.
Had they lost last night, I would have been vehemently against bringing James Harden back because the mission was not accomplished. He didn't light up the box score last night. I felt like he filled the role last night that he needed to fill. I do think that if he can just take care of the basketball, we're good. But the frustrating thing for me and James Harden in this particular series that they just won were just the volume of turnovers and the sloppy ball handling from him. It was driving me nuts. I don't know if I have a grade for you, Anthony. I need to see how this whole thing plays out. But he played a really good role last night, even though it didn't end up being one of the big scorers.
Had they lost last night, I probably would have said the same thing. I also would know that 48 hours from now, that would sound insane. So this is why I think it's a successful season, because had they had lost, it'd be DEFCON 1. Now, for some folks, it's still going to be DEFCON 1. I can't stop anybody from having emotions out there. But again, it's been 3 months since they traded for James Harden, and what was the whole big thing? They didn't have any practice. There was very little. Didn't it take 3 weeks before they actually held a practice with him?
Oh, it's insane.
It was such a long time. So you haven't had much practice. Now, at least I have, and it doesn't always go our way every year, but now I can hope that they win, and I obviously hope they win, but I can also relax a little bit and say, all right, let's look at this with a clear head. The LeBron conversation ain't going anywhere. I can't sit there and deny that. Ain't going to happen. Sorry. There's no way. The Giannis conversation. If the guy's available, you're going to have those conversations. But you can have it with more of a clear head about the team you already have. So if you're chasing something, see, this is where I have been critical because I always think that we're kind of a step behind where the NBA is. You know, you build a small backcourt, and then it tends to hurt you because now there's more dynamic wings than we've ever had. I think this is still more super team than what some of the other teams are. I mean, you look at teams that have had building blocks to success and could have more success over time. I mean, I know Oklahoma City has to eventually pay their guys, and they could be taken apart from them. San Antonio the same way, but those were built out of short times, getting good draft picks. For the Cavs, yeah, they've had some good draft picks, but they also have had to trade for some tremendous players. So now what's the next step? Well, I've always wondered if there's teams that are good enough that's made other teams worse because they try too hard and make too foolhardy moves, like we saw with Golden State, like we saw with Cleveland. They were so good in their own conferences, other teams made mistakes trying to compare them or trying to compete with them. And I don't want the Cavs to be that. Now that they've reached the Eastern Conference, I can, even if they don't win it, which they're underdogs, I can still look at this with clarity and say, all right, what's the next move that makes sense instead of just going crazy and saying, damn them all, fire them all, cut them all, trade them all, whatever. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, it is the fine line. In some ways, the playoffs, kind of like how the NFL, once you get into the postseason, you have one bad game, your season's over. All right, it's not that, but you have one bad series, and then you're trying to figure out, do you have the right coach? Mm-hmm. Do you have the right nucleus? Like, think of how people talk about Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, based on, 4 bad playoff games, and that's it. Well, we were wondering if Donovan Mitchell had a bad game 7. I had a buddy who said he's Lamar Jackson. He's Lamar Jackson. He's unbelievable. He's a top player in the league. But he's not a guy that can put a team on his back in the playoffs. Well, yesterday, I got to say, that was an awesome playing within himself, not going overboard, but also involving the teammates and doing it in the construct of a real offense. I have to say, yesterday, that is his solid, not just because Sam Merrill's hitting threes. That helps. And actually, the Cavs have been shooting below expectation on open threes. Yeah. They've been the worst of all the playoff teams in that. So it was like you were finally getting the positive regression to the mean on something like that. But I thought their offense was clicking. Everybody was touching the ball. There was a rhythm. You're always going to have some bad possessions. I know they had 2 clock violations where they threw the ball to Harden at the end of the clock.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it up in time. Okay, you're going to have some of those. But overall, that ball never stuck. They kept it moving. There's a lot of video of Schroeder. There was one where he wasn't even in the game. He was getting set to check in, and he is screaming at Donovan Mitchell, take Paul Reed, take him. You can take him. Like the mismatches. They were mismatch hunting, and that's a big part of the postseason. And get ready, Jalen Brunson, because the mismatch hunting is coming for you. Karl Anthony Towns,
yes.
The mismatch hunting is coming for you in this next series. They do have some vulnerabilities. They've got a great team. There's no doubt. They are very balanced, but they've got some vulnerabilities that the Cavs can take advantage of.
And one thing that I do want to pay attention to as well, not just one thing, but there's plenty of things, but another thing that I want to pay attention to is that, you've been able to take advantage of the experience, because I think the Cavs were ready for Game 7 last night. They were not. Detroit was not. And it plays into it when you win the game by 31, for crying out loud. Detroit made their first trip to the playoffs, I believe, last year. They're only in their second trip to the playoffs. Toronto was not in the playoffs before that for a period of 4 years before that. So they have a new cast of characters. You've been through that before. So you're more mature to take that on now. Now the next step is, we all remember what Jared had said after the Knicks series a few years ago. We all remember how Mitchell Robinson acted after that, which you were like, actually, it was a little bit more even on the boards than what people want to recognize. It was just Mitchell Robinson was the guy who won, so he gets to laugh last on this. Now you are playing against a team that's been through the wars just like you. So what are you going to do to dig deeper to get over that? But I still look at it and go, if I'm looking at both these teams, the Knicks, I would believe that they would freak out if they were to lose a 7-game series to the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to freak out. I know how I would have reacted. I'm not ripping on Daryl, because I would have reacted the same exact way. A lot of people would have. There'd be people screaming at us, screaming at you for being positive about it, yelling at me for basically almost guaranteed victory on Friday. I think there'd be a lot of people when we take it out on the Cavs. There'd be a lot of people taking it out on the Cavs. But now I just think this brings you back to zero and brings you back center and go, okay, Things have cleared up. We've now made where we need to go. Now how do we go forward? Coming up next, Justin Termin going to join us on the show. What do the Cavs have to do now to get through the New York Knicks? He's the host of NBA Today on SiriusXM NBA Radio as well as NBA TV. We'll talk to our buddy, even though he's more of a friend of me, Justin Termin in 5 minutes on The Fan. Good Nature Organic Lawn Care. I texted Alec just the other day. I go, my friends, try it out yourself. See the difference. Feel the difference of organic lawn care with getgoodnatured.com. Computers down, we're back to talking on The Fan. 216-474-0092. Tone, do you have anything to add?
Absolutely, Kenny. I do, because I am absolutely thrilled that we are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Wake up, you city. You city, you malaise city of basketball.
We can't
wake up. Wake up.
Tonight, the orange and blue
Hum it to yourself.
Goodness.
Tonight, we're going to live a dream. Tonight, the orange and blue deliver. Hard-working town, hard-working team.
We're back.
There we go.
Hey!
There it is.
Now go to break.
Now we can go to break. Justin Termin. He's joining us. And now less than 5 on The Fan. Holy potatoes.
19. Want to catch highlights from the Fan from earlier today? Head over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
This is where Cleveland fans turn to talk Cavs basketball. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Cavs won last night by 31. Beat the Detroit Pistons, now head to the Eastern Conference Finals. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. tip-off, Game 1 against the New York Knicks. Justin Termin joins us right now on the Wise Heart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. He is the host of NBA Today on Sirius XM. You also see him on NBA TV. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing, fellas?
We're doing wonderful.
Justin, have you gotten over that insane opinion you had about a foul that was 70 feet away?
Oh, boy.
When you thought that the Cavs, were gifted some victory when they...
I didn't think they were gifted a victory because I clearly stated during my rant that Cleveland deserved to still win the game and Detroit's choke was the number one story, but it was also a foul.
Did you want a lane violation, James Harden? You want like a defensive 3 seconds? Is that what you want the playoffs to boil down to?
Rule book.
Gloves are off.
There's a rule book. Thanks.
By the book.
Thanks, Justin. There's a rule book. Okay.
I thought listen, I come on here free of charge in order to offer insight on what's going on, not to be attacked. So you just had one of the better victories in the history of your organization, and you want to go at me personally?
Why not?
You want to break down the game?
I want to go at you personally. Barney Fife joins us right now on the Wise Heart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. Go ahead, Tone.
Would you like to confide with your boy, JB Bickerstaff, that maybe Detroit fouls too much?
Ooh.
Maybe they got a fouling problem. They only led the NBA in foul rate this year.
Riddle me that, toughie.
Why is it some shock that the Cavs had a big free throw disparity in this series?
No, I mean, I don't think it is. I just think on that call, listen, I didn't like all the complaining from J.B. Bickerstaff, and I even said after that entire fiasco the other night that I personally had I could complain, Detroit Talk Radio could complain, Piston fans could complain, but the people I didn't want to hear complaining were J.B. Bickerstaff and anybody on that roster because they're the ones that put themselves in that situation. So, again, that's on them. The way that they didn't come out with any energy last
How
night.
the hell?
I thought it was embarrassing what Cleveland did in Game 6, where they didn't close things out with that effort.
Yeah, it
and
was embarrassing.
Just as bad last night. How many times do you have
that? Was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. But I didn't sit there. I didn't sit there and lament about fouls and saying that things weren't fair. That was my whole issue with it. That's the problem.
I agree,
You're not going to put a guy at the line to finish off a basketball game in the playoffs. I don't even know if you'd do that in February. I don't know if you'd do that in a regular season. No one pays for that. Come on. Hello?
What?
Oh,
what do you want
I thought he hung up on it.
I'm agreeing.
Wait, he gave up.
Oh, okay.
Then he gave up. He gave up like the Pistons did in Game 7 at home.
That's what he did. It's okay.
Listen, Asar Thompson would have missed the free throws anyway. I don't understand what you're that concerned about.
Okay. Justin Termin joins us right now on the show. So were you surprised by how badly the Cavs beat him last night, or was this like, one team, they got the experience, the other team kind of ran out of gas?
No, I mean, I thought Cleveland was going to win after it was, at home in Game 6, but the way that they came out in Game 6, Detroit's going home. They've been relatively good there all season long. I think, Donovan Mitchell, I mean, up to this point, Cade Cunningham was the best player in the series. I think you guys would even admit that Mitchell, outside of one quarter in the second half of Game 5, had been absolutely brutal. So I had more confidence in Detroit heading into the game last night. So not only listen, am I shocked that they won? No, but I'm shocked that they won how they won. That's the best game they played all postseason. I mean, let's be honest. It's been difficult to get up to this point for the Cavs, a lot more difficult than it should have been.
Justin Termin with us. So, given what we just saw out of 2 Game 7s that the Cavs have been able to win, one at home, one on the road, have you changed your mind about this Cavs team at all?
Meaning, do they have an opportunity to beat New York? Because here's how I would judge the remaining teams. I would say Oklahoma City's 1, San Antonio is 2. The way New York has been playing ever since they started running through Karl Anthony Towns is 3, and I think that all 3 of those teams are capable of winning the title, even New York, which I want to said a week and a half ago. Then I think there's a gap, and then I think there's the Cavaliers. So I think Cavs are clearly the 4th best team remaining. Do you guys disagree with that?
Well, here's the one thing. Like, there's no doubt the Knicks are riding high. They've played incredibly well. It's all come together. Mike Brown doing a terrific job. With that said, I mean, they were playing a Philly team where Joel Embiid could barely move. And I do think that it's going to be very different from Karl Anthony Towns going up against Evan Mobley. I don't know if point guard Cat is going to fly against Evan Mobley, who's been everywhere.
A little bit different animal than the guy who moved like a flat Stanley in the last series.
All right, but New York's also a different animal than a team where you had to guard one player. Let's be honest, you had to guard 100%.
100%. You're right.
You're concerned about, like, Tobias Harris is the number 2 option. Let's be clear. Tobias Harris would maybe be the 4th option on the Knicks. If Mikal Bridges has it going, then he's the 5th option. So you're facing a much better offense than you just got done facing. And even Toronto. Like, you haven't faced a decent offense yet. Detroit's offense stinks. Toronto's offense is an absolute disaster. And you made Scotty Barnes look like he was Magic Johnson for most of that series. So, and like the guy that I think's been playing the best for the Knicks, I don't know if you guys agree or not, isn't Karl Anthony Towns, who's getting all this credit for now running the offense, or Jalen Brunson, who's always getting the credit. I think it's been OG Anunoby. So I think a key is going to be, is he healthy, and has he, lost his rhythm? Because if OG Anunoby do you guys agree with this? If Anunoby plays the way that he did prior to going down with the injury the first 2 rounds, that it's going to be really the Cavs probably can't win, because I think he's been the best two-way player in the sport.
Yeah, he has been incredible. And I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. I do think that the Knicks are going to have some trouble guarding the screen and roll against both Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan could actually have his best series of the playoffs so far against the Knicks, because I think they can match up Hunt in a way that they really couldn't against Toronto, and to a little bit more of an extent in that last series. Yeah,
all right. So if you get like the version of Donovan Mitchell we saw last night, because something to me is off with Mitchell. I mean, he's been explosive athletically, really throughout the course of his entire career. Something's been different this postseason run. I don't know if you guys agree. You've seen more regular season games than me. I've watched every Cavs postseason game thus far. He just doesn't look like he has the same, first step. The athleticism appears sapped to me. I thought he was even injured earlier in this series. And like last night, he was fantastic. All right. So you get that version of Donovan Mitchell, then fine. Even with I don't even think it was about the scoring last night. I thought his playmaking was fantastic right off the bat. There had been all this talk about how he's not setting up the teammates. It was kind of felt like a James Harden team where things were being run too much through him. Last night, I thought you ran things through Donovan Mitchell. He was playmaking. Like, you get that version. I agree with you, Tony. You get the the stuff that you've got up to this point in the postseason, not so much.
Justin Termin joining us on the show. How good do you think Kenny Atkinson is? He's taking a little bit of he's taking a lot of heat this year, and he's taking a bit of criticism here in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, so I like the guy. Maybe a little bit. I'm in Boston. Maybe a little Joe Mazzulla, right? Where Mazzulla I thought was the best regular season coach this year. Then you get into the postseason and the adjustments. He's a little slow with them, and I thought he had a horrific series against Philadelphia. I mean, clearly he did a tremendous job with the Nets turning things around there. Regular season, to me, he's been great. I didn't like the decision last year to rest the guys and not play guys 40 minutes. I think you have to be willing to push guys, so that might be a weakness. He goes to the bench too much, but and I guess maybe the other minor critique, and this is more long term than game to game in the postseason, is just Evan Mobley's development hasn't been as good as I would have anticipated. Although I think Mobley really might have been what shifted this series. The last 3 or 4 games, he's looked a little bit better than he did at the start of the postseason.
Do you think it was odd watching that game yesterday? I think at one point the Cavs were up 30 or more, and Stan Van Gundy starts going in on James Harden's Game 7 struggles. Did you find that odd when James Harden had a plus 31 yesterday and played competent defense, rebounded, got others involved, the ball didn't stick to him, didn't turn the ball over? Did that kind of sound personal to you?
I mean, listen, I don't know.
You didn't find that odd?
You didn't find that personal?
Is that normal? Do the broadcasters typically point out someone who's on a team in the middle of an ass-kicking?
I mean, I did a show on YouTube, my show, which you guys didn't promote, by the way. You could have done that. It's Termin Crashes Out on YouTube. I've just started that.
No, we played the hell out of it last week when you were bitching up a storm about the final 2 minutes that the NBA said was still clean. We played the hell out of it.
I appreciate that. So you could sign up for that. Termin Crashes Out there on YouTube. But, I kind of said, about Harden last night, his Game 7 struggles, basically get usurped. Like, he didn't show up and score, and that's what he's supposed to do, according to Daryl Morey, who's now out of a job, by the way. He's supposed to be the greatest offensive player of all time. So what did he shoot last night? Like 2 of 9, 2 of 8, 2 of 10? He's got to be beber than he was last night.
You don't like a assist-to-turnover ratio of 6-1?
Boom.
Oh, tremendous! Great. He that should be expected from an all-time great guard. Is not turning the ball.
He's 36. Termini, what? Come on.
Are you about to pay him? Are you about to pay him $30+ million?
We'll have those discussions when the time warrants.
36. You're still going to pay him all that money.
No reason to get ahead of ourselves. We can have those decisions at the end of the year.
I just subscribed to your YouTube channel. I hope you're happy about that.
Overall, though, Termini, the James Harden experience, the roller coaster of the James Harden experience. What are your thoughts?
I liked the trade at the outset. I mean, I thought, and I think we talked about this a little, Tony. One, he's healthier than Darius Garland. He's always out there on the floor. It's not like Darius Garland gives you anything great in the postseason as well. I think he's a better defender than Darius Garland, and that he can get guys down in the post. He's got a big body. The only thing I guess I would say has been a negative, I'm not even going to hold it against him that he didn't shoot the ball well last night and he turns the ball over a lot, is I feel at times they run things through him too much, where, like you said, he's 36. Donovan Mitchell's in the heart of his prime. It should be a Donovan Mitchell team, and I think sometimes they fall too much in the habit of just like, oh, well, that's James Harden, give him the ball, and it becomes dribble. But when they run things through Donovan Mitchell a little bit more, that's when I like it.
Justin Termin joining us on the show. He's from NBA Radio, also NBA TV, also Termin Crashes Out, where I just subscribed to him. You are now on the same list as Larry Lawton, regular car reviews, slap shoes, Brock Beard as well. I hope you, John Gruden, I hope you feel, Glazier Clinics, I hope you feel very, very honored that I follow you on the. I
am. I appreciate it, and you could follow if you don't like the product in a couple of days.
We'll see what you say.
Termini, for so long, I hear from the gatekeepers about how soft this version of the NBA is, and yet in the last two series, you're allowed to tackle guys off the ball. You're allowed to bear hug them. The forearm shiver is back with a vengeance. Are people just failing to recognize that this is pretty damn physical?
It's physical. I mean, you don't have to worry about losing your life if you're going to the rim.
Did you see Sam Merrill trying to take a charge yesterday?
He not only did he try, he took one, and that was, he got steamrolled there by Asar Thompson. Another play where J.B. Bickerstaff somehow was complaining. How are you complaining about that? It was a clear charge. But it is not, Tony, I think I saw you tweet about this. It is not 1987. It is not 1996 in regards to the physicality. But I do like how the league allows it to be more physical against everybody outside of SGA once we get to the postseason. He, of course, will just keep trotting to the free throw line nonstop, and you guys will get sick of that rather quickly if you face him in the NBA Finals.
I'd be happy to be in the NBA Finals facing him. I think that this has been a successful season for the Cavs.
Cleveland as well. I'm rooting for you. I'd love to visit in June your lovely city as opposed to New York, which to me is a cesspool. I love Cleveland.
Jeez.
I do not like New York. I lived in New York for 15 years. I don't want to go back.
Hold on, they got a new mayor.
They got a new mayor.
Why don't you try that out?
Well, I have not been back since the new mayor is there. Maybe things have been cleaned up a little bit and it's less stressful. But I love everything more about the city of Cleveland, the food, the females, everything, the accommodations in regards to where you stay, the arena, the atmosphere outside of the arena.
Why don't you just come here for the Easter? Are you coming here for the Easter Conference Finals then or what? No?
Termini doesn't make trips for conference finals. He only does the big games. So get to the big games.
These are big games.
Not big enough for Termini.
No, God. So this isn't a successful season then for the Cavs, is what you're saying?
I don't think it's a successful season. Do you guys?
I do. I do. I don't know if Tone does, but I do.
All right. Well, so that's my concern. So I was thinking about this really the last couple of days. It almost seemed like, and again, I can't get in the players' heads, but it almost seemed like what you're saying. Like it's unacceptable to lose in the second round. If we lose to Detroit, maybe Kenny Atkinson gets fired or faces some pressure. Maybe we have to trade Jarrett Allen or Evan Mobley. Maybe Donovan Mitchell starts to get a little antsy, even though the way Mitchell played, he had no right to blame anybody else but himself for the loss. But it almost seemed like, hey, if we win this round, it's okay if we lose to the Knicks. I hope that's not the mindset, but that's almost the sense that I get.
No. I'm just excited to be back in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's all. But no, you can't just go out there and get hammered by the Knicks, and I don't think they will. Justin, thank you very much for the time. See you in hell.
Hopefully I'll save you a seat.
I'll beat you there. All right, Justin Termin. Big thanks to him, Termin Radio on social media. The host of Termin Crashes Out on YouTube. Did you subscribe as well?
No. I will not.
Why
be doing
not?
that. I mean, he wanted.
I subscribed. He was on the Wise Heart Right. We Make It Right. Call Right hotline.
He wanted to gift the Pistons a win on a foul where guys are going for a loose ball with 1 second left, 70 feet from the basket. I can't subscribe to that ever.
Well, that thought, but you could subscribe to the channel now, wouldn't you?
If those are the thoughts permeating from the channel on a daily basis.
Well, people listen to us and they disagree with us every day. So what's the problem?
Don't. Come on.
A lot do.
I don't believe it.
There are people in this world who think that you win arguments against me, which is I find to be completely asinine.
When do we argue? We're a team. Hey, look, we're rooting for a team that's in the Final Four.
We haven't really had a bunch to argue about.
We are rooting for a team that is one of 4 remaining
best teams in the
sport. Sorry if we're excited. We're not going to bicker over that.
Kenny Atkinson's a better coach, and we're giving him credit for it. And the feeling I had this morning, untouchable compared to where we're about to go here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work. The Odyssey app is free. It's spectacular. You're going to love it. Window Nation, you're going to love them.
the Mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back. We're better. Let's get it.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
.45, we call him the Sheriff. Lima called him the MVP of the series. That coming up at 9:45. Just had Justin Termin on. I wish we had 2 days until the Eastern Conference Finals, because I want to get to what Kenny Atkins had said about Dan Gilbert here momentarily. But when we heard Termin and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are the 4th best team with like a bullet," and it's like, "Yeah, you won this game, great game to win, 31-point victory, beat them in 7." And I tell you what, it's kind of waking up the old rivalry again with Detroit, where I saw some of the videos that people took when they were up there yesterday, like the 25 buses. They've been shared with us here on the show, some of the videos that people had. And it's like, okay, the rivalry. I wasn't really feeling the rivalry at the beginning of the series. Now it's like, hey, it's kind of there. It's kind of there again, which they're close to us. There should be somewhat of a rivalry. It's healthy. It should be that way. So that's good. But when I hear Justin say that, I'm going, man, you got 1 day to really celebrate, and then already you see by the end of the show, we just had Justin at 9. Already I'm getting ready to look forward to the series coming up against the Knicks. Like, you can't help it. Like, you want to accomplish more. They've accomplished something getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. You want to accomplish more. I think you probably feel the exact same way. Like, you only got a little bit of a breather this morning, and now it's already time to turn the page and get ready for the Knicks. Because I assume they're flying out today. Well, I don't think they flew out. They didn't fly out last night, did they? I assume they fly out today.
I didn't see
don't know.
anything on that, but
okay. It's already time to turn and get going.
Look,
here.
I love what I heard from those guys. Like, they didn't act like they won anything last night. Even the stuff I saw, I think it was Leah Doherty at 19. I saw her social media, and she was in the tunnel, and Max Strus came out and gave a bear hug to one of the staffers, but that was it. Like, there was no big celebration. And if you compare that to Detroit after Game 6 acted like they won the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And they were hooting and hollering and, Ken, the gyrating. I mean, the gyrating was just on another level.
I didn't see much gyration. I heard there was hooting and hollering.
There was. So, maybe those guys, it's a younger team, most of those guys. So, this was a big deal for them.
Cavs
to even
have already
get
paid the price, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell has been around a long time, but you would have thought Donovan getting past the second round, he'll never have to hear that again. You would have thought he would be going nuts. He didn't. Evan Mobley was just, and you'll hear some of the sound later, but Evan Mobley was like, okay, yeah, we play again and again and again and again every other day. Like, they've already played 14 games. They will play a whole NFL season in the matter of 6 weeks.
Yes, they will.
So, and every game is life or death. So think about where the stakes have been for this Cavs team and how many chances they give the fans to overreact to the wins, the losses, the highs and the lows. Like, that is not for the faint of heart. And this is where I do think somebody like James Harden, believe it or not, we're going to go to somebody who is universally panned for the things he has done in the playoffs. But what do we know about James? Does that dude ever get high or low on anything? Like,
no.
He is just even keel at all times. And you hate it when they get off to rough starts. You hate it when it's like, hey, James, there's a loose ball there. You might want to pounce on it and show some emotion. He just doesn't do that. But I also think that helps when you ride that roller coaster, that he just steps up and he'll take the next 3. He doesn't care if he's missed 8 in a row. He doesn't care if he's turned the ball over 7 straight times. Like, you do need a little bit of that on your team. And you can have the crazies. You can have the Max Struses who is, going nuts, possession to possession, right? Guarding 90 feet. And then Dennis Schroeder comes in, shot out of a cannon at all times. Like, you need to have a mix. And I think the Cavs do mentally have that mix. And I think on the floor they have that mix.
He may be one of those guys. Like, LeBron was a different animal. And we always compare him, so I can't help it. When nothing to me was ever as impressive ever in watching sports. I mean, ever in watching sports than an angry LeBron. Angry LeBron, if another player took umbrage with him or took a cheap shot that he felt was a cheap shot, or he had heard some sort of thing from a bench or anything like that, angry LeBron was unlike anything we could see. And he could play a more physical style of basketball. James Harden, maybe he has to be more like a pitcher. Maybe he has to be more like a baseball player. Like, you can't, maybe for some they can play the game angry. He can't really play the game angry. He has to remain cold and emotionless to be able to get the very best out of him. Because if he plays emotional, honestly, he turns the ball over so much, then if you're so emotional, you're going to start focusing on some of the bad stuff. That's just what happens with a lot of emotional people. Usually they tend to focus too much on negative things. You're an emotional guy. Well, I'm more emotional than you. I focus on a lot of bad things. Hate to say it. So he might have to just keep himself above it. So I can accept that. It does bother some fans because fans think emotionally. And so when you don't see it out of them, but I think you're right about that. Also, speaking of emotions, a lot of people getting a little bit, there have been some people who have been critical of Kenny Atkinson. And they haven't won some games at 17 and 16. People are critical of them, rightfully so. I do think we're being a little bit picky, where Kenny, I think, tried to tell a little bit of an anecdote yesterday after the game. And to the reaction I was getting from my friends, I don't know if you were getting the same reaction. I woke up to it. I go, man, a lot of people, they just don't seem to trust this guy after he had said this, which I thought was a perfectly fine little story.
You know, I had dinner with Dan Gilbert last night. He came over to our hotel. He goes, you know who the key to this whole thing is? The spark of this is Jared Allen. I said, really? You know, people who observe from afar, plus Dan knows the team well and knows these guys. It was really, I was like, man, I went to my room. I'm like, man, I'm going to run the first play for him.
So when you hear that, so many people got a little bit upset going, what, he doesn't even know the owner of the team? I mean, I saw it on my Facebook. I woke up this morning. I saw people on Twitter. I saw people texting me last night. And I go, I think we're getting a little bit too carried away with the story about Dan Gilbert. One, it's nice that there's an owner that knows ball. He is a ball knower. He is a big fan of the game. Now, that can always backfire if you have an owner who's a huge fan. We know that. But he loves the team. He loves basketball. He's going to tell him what he thinks. But some people go, well, the owner knows more than what the head coach knows. I think you're in two situations. Kenny Atkinson isn't stupid. I think he's better at managing his emotions than J.B. Bickerstaff. I thought that played out. We're about to play Mike Brown here in the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow. We have a lot of experience with Mike Brown. Yeah, it didn't work out here. The second time it really didn't work out. The first time the run, it just came to its end. I don't think Mike Brown is some dummy either. You know, we got to be careful on some of the stuff. Like, he could very well, like, whoever loses this series, I think Kenny Atkinson would be perfectly safe if they lost in like 6 games. I mean, if they look uncompetitive in 4 games, I mean, it's still back on the deck, I got to admit.
Yeah, because then there's a gap,
yes.
right? Then
yes.
We were hoping that they were at the top of the Eastern Conference, you know, within distance of everybody else.
But I don't think Kenny Atkinson, if you lose a series, his job is on the line. Maybe Mike Brown's job would be on the line just because the owner's kind of nuts over there in New York. But I find that the overrated thought that coaches are stupid or coaches are just in over their head. I don't think Kenny Atkinson's been in over his head. There's things that we disagree with, but there's things that we disagree with all coaches. I just think we're being a little bit too hard on Kenny.
You know, look, the first 2 games of this series, I was like, what is Kenny doing? What was the plan of attack? How did they not understand that, you know, going heliocentric James Harden ball against that defense with Thompson just being such a lockdown defender? How did we think that was going to work? But over the course of, and maybe, you know, that's who Kenny is too. Like, Kenny is not sitting there, although he was more demonstrative as the series went on with the refs. But, you know, those first 2 games, he was just kind of sitting there the entire game. I wanted to see so much more, and I wanted to see the team wake up to some extent. And they made adjustments. I mean, the huge Game 5 adjustments with Cade Cunningham, you know, in Detroit with the double teams. Mm-hmm. But they showed him a bunch of different looks, and I love they didn't just go back to doubling Cade Cunningham. They picked and chose their spots. They made sure that, hey, once he turns his back and gets on the low block, now you send the double. The passing lanes aren't there for him. And you saw he was completely flummoxed. And if you cut off the head of the snake in this series, what else did Detroit have?
Nothing. Now, very little. And, Tobias Harris, but very little.
And now look, a lot of people are saying, guys, well, they're playing a functional offense now. When they go up against the Knicks, it's like, oh, you mean it gets harder as it's the playoffs move on? Yeah, welcome to the NBA playoffs. It is supposed to get harder. So this is going to be a significant challenge. And the Knicks, going into the playoffs, I thought we had the edge. Well, the Knicks have played better. And so I'd probably pick the Knicks right now. But the Cavs are right there. I don't buy...
You're fair to do that.
I don't buy that there's some 75-25 underdog like right now Vegas would have you believe, or everybody at ESPN is going to pick the Knicks. Everybody you see on the radio and the pod, they're all going to pick the Knicks. I do not think the Knicks, just because they haven't struggled in a while, and they did struggle the first 3 games of that Atlanta series. Yeah. They absolutely struggled. They were down 2-1 and couldn't solve C.J. McCollum. Like, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are better than him. So get ready. Jalen Brunson, you're about to see 100 screen and rolls like on every possession. Karl Anthony Towns, they're going to pick at you like crazy. So I'm excited about this series.
Coming up in 5 minutes, the group that usually makes fun of people for clutching their pearls is really clutching their pearls over the weekend. And we call him the sheriff. Lima's calling him the MVP of this series. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on that free Odyssey app. Northeast.
Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your mornings are about to change with 92.3 The Fan. We're going local at 5 a.m. It's The Fan Warm-Up Show with Jeff Thomas. All the latest from the night before in Cleveland sports and getting your day started even earlier. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
$20, $10, $5, $2, $2. You know what club it is? One that only Steph Curry, LeBron, Larry Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Fighting through adversity, fighting through the hard times.
2010 522.
2010 522.
Everyone's excited right now. We're on to the next. We're ready to go to New York. Everyone's locked in.
You have 40% off a collect call when you call 2010 522.
We're resilient. Things aren't always going to be smooth. Second Game 7 now, so we know it's not going to be easy. We can't ever get down on ourselves. It's always next game mentality.
Is Evan making the leap right before our eyes?
2010 522. 2010 522. 2010 522.
I mean, job's not done. We still got 8 more wins to go.
I know we're having fun, but I really do think that he's going to force the Knicks to do something different offensively. Do you think they even come out with Karl Anthony Towns running the offense tomorrow?
I think they think that they've figured out the rest of the league. They've talked so much about the Karl Anthony Towns at point guard, which has been great. They got excellent cutters off the ball, and of course they can space it because you have to be glued to Jalen Brunson because he does a lot of really high IQ stuff when he's off the ball. And then on the ball, you're like, we're going to be talking all series long. As much as they hate what Harden does, you're going to hate what Jalen Brunson does. He's gifted at being able to buy that whistle. So I'm so intrigued with the matchups. But you just asked me, Evan Mobley is way different than Joel Embiid defensively right now at this stage. Joel Embiid in his prime was an elite defender. What I saw last round was a guy that couldn't move. Like guards were going right at him, and he was afraid to try to even contest their shots because he didn't want to jump.
So Evan has not been defensively this year, and I think some of that is because Wemby's played. Wemby has played all season long. Now, he went out halfway through the year last year, obviously, with the scare, but Evan is still one of the best defensive players in the league. I know that his numbers dropped this last year, but I think some of that's going to be normal. He's still one of the best defensive players in the league. I look at what Karl Anthony Towns has done over the first couple of series, and I know that they think that they've got it fixed. I don't know. I would be – they may try it tomorrow, but I actually would not be surprised if they did something different offensively because Evan Mobley coming out on you to play defense, that's a different look than anything else that you've had. It's a different look to have Karl Anthony Towns at the top. I'll grant you that. But I think that Evan Mobley coming out to defend him, it's going to be like, yeah, this is, off ball, out of the post stuff. This might be a little bit too much. And I think that Evan is able to move with him, and I think could create a problem with him. And I think Jared Allen is hard enough inside that he could stop anything that gets tossed inside. So I think that it changes a little bit where you would want to put somebody bigger in a better position to compete against Evan Mobley instead of at the top.
And just how about, the little...
Cavs Conversations brought to you by Surfside Hard Iced Tea that asks you to please enjoy Surfside Hard Iced Tea responsibly. Go right on ahead. So the
little nuances on how everything comes together, and that's how it becomes an ass-kicking on the road. Like, to see the spacing on the floor and then to see whether it was Mobley doing a lot of those very, very aggressive offensive moves where he was attacking the rim. Maybe him being able to hit those threes kind of opened things up too. And then Jared Allen, watch him move off the ball, like without the ball. That is the stuff that changes. It unlocks a lot of what the Cavs do. There was some big-to-big passing where, again, all eyes were either on Evan or Donovan on his drives. And then watch Jared Allen start to position himself, make himself available, call for the ball. And then you saw James Harden started feeding him. And it was relentless. To have the two bigs, because we've asked, when have the two bigs been an advantage in the playoffs? When? You trot out the two big guys and neither of them could shoot. When has it ever been an advantage? Man, that series, as it unfolded, huge advantage over their bigs that I was supposed to be worried about. I mean, how much money did Duren cost himself, by going up against those guys?
I think it's a little overrated.
Oh, we'll see, but But it was domination.
I know, but in real money, like a lot of these guys still get overpaid now, depending on what your definition is of overpaid. I'm not trying to be that type of guy, but it's like, yeah, you're going to get more money, and I don't know if the playoffs necessarily hammer them it hammers them in the conversation, but it doesn't hammer them when it comes down to their contracts. 216-474-0092. Let me get to Mike in Orlando, Florida. You're first up on the Fan. Go ahead. He's on the free Odyssey app. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. Hey, Lima. I'm going up to Newport, too. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh, you got to tell me where to go. You're going to have some fun up there.
Man, you do the cliff walk.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the mansions. Go fishing.
The Gilded Age.
The crib walk?
The Gilded Age.
Yeah.
Cliff walk.
Snoop does the crib walk.
Okay.
You can do the crib walk on the cliff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I fall over them.
My son's an instructor at the Naval War College up there. So I go up, once every 6 months.
Nice. Well, Tone,
6'8" Navy
I'm leaving
SEAL.
tomorrow. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks.
Well, have fun.
What a call back to the
I
first call.
I love it there. Okay, so take care, guys. Back to the Cavs.
Cool. Mike, thank you very much for the call, my friend. Demos,
got
a Newport breakdown.
Demos and Shaker, go ahead.
At least I know Demos is a real person.
Demos is real.
I think we all agree that the Cavs were better than the Pistons, and you felt that all along, even after Friday's mind-blowing loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference here? If the team is better, if what we saw yesterday can dismantle Detroit like they did, why shouldn't we be able to do the same against New York? The only thing that we got to do is focus, because Friday was a complete lack of focus, and yesterday was, I think, the complete opposite of that. And if it's not Kenny, because look what happened at the beginning of the game there. He talked about feeding it off, but Detroit was trying to cover Harden and Mitchell, and then we just started feeding it off, and it opened everything up, and we just kicked their asses, and it was beautiful to watch. But can we do that against New York? And honestly, I thought that Anthony's analysis showed a lot more depth than that guy Jeffrey, who just at least acknowledged watching the Cavs in the playoffs. But I think we have a fantastic chance to beat New York, and I'm excited.
Demos, thank you very much for the call. I've said this before about the Browns. I agree with Demos, because I've said this before about the Browns. Like, when they were flirting with 0-16, it's like you don't just play the opponent ahead of you, you play against your record, because it's constantly brought up. And Donovan knows exactly where he has not been yet. Conference finals. James Harden, even when they're up by 30, Stan Van Gundy's bringing up his Game 7 performances. So there's still maybe some pressure there when it comes to James. I hope that this can free them up and they can play a little looser coming up tomorrow night against the Knicks, because this is a major accomplishment for these guys. And it should be taken that way. I know we got to turn and get ready for the Knicks very quickly, but still. Did you enjoy the Rajay Davis bobblehead?
Oh, I saw the internet had mixed emotions.
A lot
about
of the
this.
folks still upset about the name change. We're so upset about the Rajay Davis. I go, it still happened when they were the Indians. We can't be excited about the home run. Should be excited about the home runs. Nice moment. A nice bobblehead, I'm sure. All right, big thanks to Justin Termin. Big thanks to the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10 for Big Country, for John, for his girlfriend who's in town, for Tone. I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Go Cavs. Go Guardians tonight up in Detroit. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy.
2010